Out of charge or driving around town or the suburbs, praying you can find a charge station that's not already being used before you run out of juice.
That's why it's best to get in touch with BC EV Chargers. Fully qualified electricians, BC EV Chargers specialise in all makes of electric vehicle charging systems. And because no two systems are the same, they're happy to discuss the best system for your situation. In fact, they're certified experts in the field of electric vehicle charging, working with big brands like RAA and ChargeFox.
So if you drive an electric vehicle, the message is simple. Charge at home and you're free to roam with BC EV Chargers. Visit their website, bcevchargers.com.au.
Our bowel screening test is simple, private and free. Your test will be posted to you every 2 years once you turn 50, so make sure to keep an eye out for it. If found early, 90% of bowel cancers can be treated successfully. Doing a screening test every 2 years can help you stay strong and healthy for yourself and your family. For more information, have a yarn with your health professional or visit www.indigenousbowelscreen.com.au.
The news and issues that matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
Purchase any Hyundai until June 30 for 3 years free scheduled servicing. T's and C's apply at participating Hyundai dealers.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast, the last week of May. It is the 27th today. We've got a big morning ahead, headlined by our first of a series of Matilda's experiences and tickets we're going to be giving away this week. They play Adelaide Oval on Friday night. Of course, it's sold out. They're always sold out. But to you and a friend going to a corporate box to watch the action, all you need to do is be the first caller through this morning when after 8 today we play a bit of a Matilda's highlight. It'll come out of nowhere. You need to be the first caller through on 8223 8855. I'll remind you a little bit later how that one works. Jade Robrin's out on the road for us. We're going to head to the US. Tim Lester for Channel 7 will be on the program. Stacey Lee is going to talk state politics. The Mayor of Kangaroo Island, Michael Pengilly, is going to be on the show as well, and we'll get you across all the things happening across Adelaide, Australia and the world. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. A great weekend sports-wise for everybody in South Australia. It's been a while coming, actually. We haven't had a week where both Paw and the Crows have won for
feels like a while,
quite some time. Goes back before the showdown. But
you know what it feels like, though? It feels like they both had the bye.
Yeah.
Emotionally, that's how that weekend felt.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Sort of felt like, oh, okay, can we get back to the footy now?
Yeah.
It was good to have a rest week against West Coast and North Melbourne.
It felt like it, didn't it, crikey?
Oh, my goodness.
I had that down as a danger game yesterday for the Crows.
I felt the same way.
I was worried about it.
Yeah.
They looked really impressive last Sunday when they took Melbourne apart. And, Melbourne are a decent side. They've got some superb players, but the Crows are just doing their head in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to read too much into that. It's hard to read anything into it, isn't it?
I don't think West Coast at this point are good at taking the show on the road.
No. And look, beating North Melbourne, that's not really a feather in anyone's cap either.
Oh, that was down.
Neither of them were great games.
No, and
imagine I was saying to Kate last night because we were there, and I said, "What do you reckon the national TV audience outside of South Australia is for this game? How many people would actually be watching it
in that time slot?"
Yeah, I would have been surprised if more than 5,000 people were watching.
I think you're probably right. Well, speaking of small numbers of people that cared, the Tasmanian fixtures have become a real sore spot, I think. Now that they clearly have a team that's come in, the number of people that Port North game, I don't know what they'll say the crowd was, but just watching it, there was probably 5 or 6 picnic rugs spread out at Blundstone Arena on the outer side.
Which is a big ground.
Yeah.
It's a big ground. So if there's not many there, it looks terrible.
Occasionally, Jason Horne-Francis would get it and everyone would boo. That was about as loud as it ever got.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Why were Crows supporters booing Harley Reid?
Because this is Australia and what we do is we tear down tall poppies.
The guy's, he's 18 years old, he's played 10 games of football.
Yeah.
Why were people booing him?
Oh, because people say he's good and he's getting out of himself. That's the Australian mantra.
Well, the fans who did that are idiots.
Yeah, I agree.
They are complete jerks.
Yep.
It's just terrible. I just don't understand that. I thought he'd done something wrong, and I was saying to him, why is he being booed?
We had the same conversation at the ground.
But what the hell is wrong with people?
Well, Nick Dacos got booed. Who are these young upstarts? What do they think they are?
What about when he went through Rochelle?
Oh, my goodness. I can't wait to ask Josh about that this week. I've never seen someone just run into the man on the market and push him over before. That was unbelievable.
It looked like something in a sci-fi film where he melted into like liquid mercury and came out the other side.
It was unbelievable. He is just a freak of nature, that bloke. But I think it's a really ugly part of the culture of Australians that we still have in us, and it's high achievers getting booed, basically.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Who does this guy think he is being so good at football?
You think about all the abuse terms in Australia. One of the worst ones is up themselves. Well, they're up themselves. He's up himself. You know, like if you use the right word, he swallowed a dictionary. You get an encyclopedia up your bum, have you?
There's no level of achievement that's beyond the ridicule of the average Australian.
Yeah,
I think we've all probably done. I think it's culturally in us, unfortunately.
But I don't think it's a class thing.
No. That's what I'm saying. I think it's in everyone.
Wasn't just coming from the hill.
Absolutely not.
So what is it? But how we can't pin it on the convict heritage in South Australia because we're free settlers.
No, it's not South. I think it's the whole country. I think it's this whole poppy syndrome that we've always had in Australia. I don't know what the origin of it is. It must be some down and out part of the UK.
We're blaming the Irish for it.
We've got to blame someone.
Well, it is an anti-authoritarian type.
Possibly,
of it is.
yeah.
Or envy.
Envy? It is
weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Anyway,
Dave and Blakeview's called in on 8223000. Morning to you, Dave.
G'day, guys. How are you?
Good, mate.
Good, thanks, Dave.
The biggest thing wrong with yesterday's footy match was I actually watched it because I was interested in it, but I flicked over and they put the last bloody quarter on 7 May.
Oh, Dave.
And I
the
missed
old
the
switch
dig of
over.
that, right? Now, it's Pauline's birthday today, as in Hanson.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And have you ever stood in the newsagent and gone through all the birthday cards? I had the best 10 minutes of my life on Saturday, reading the bloody, all the funnies for it. You know, there's a chimp there hanging from a tree, scratching his left nut, and the caption reads, "Oh, now the right nut wants to scratch as well." I cacked myself, "Happy birthday" on the inside. or the one where the bloke at the bus stop with "Show us your tits" on his T-shirt, and old Granny comes along in a long coat, and just flip the page over and she's lifted the coat up to her knees. You can see what gravity's done to her over the years.
All right.
I think everyone's seen that old card. Dave, good on you, mate.
Thank you, Dave.
The one here, agree re the booing culture. Why do we Crows people boo Horn Francis? He's a South boy, left port for North Melbourne. Why should this bother us at all?
Yeah, but I think it's the same thing, because Jason Horn Francis is a confident and talented young man who carries himself that way. And in Australia, confident, talented people need to be pulled down a peg.
Yeah, but at least with him, there's an element of, you can argue the toss about moving clubs, but there's nothing with Harley Reid other than he's good.
Hasn't even had the chance to move clubs yet.
Yeah, crazy.
Dutton's text line is open and ready for your business. 0480 1395. Dutton's Hyundai. Discover the all-new hybrid electric Santa Fe family SUV. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with. We'll take a quick break. News headlines are coming up.
Dreaming of a getaway? Now's the perfect time. With the G'day Parks app, not only do you get access to more parks in more places, but if you book on the app before the 31st of August for travel anytime this year, you'll be entered into the draw to win free fuel for a year. A whole year of free fuel. Book to win and get away on us. G'day Parks, the easy way to get away. Here's good. G'dayParks.com.au. T's and C's apply. Permit number OCT TP 24/00628.
Make this time of year a little less taxing with impressive savings on select Mercedes-Benz models. Save from $5,800 on the stylish A250 sedan, from $9,500 on the luxurious C300 sedan, and from $6,500 on the striking CLA 250 Coupe. These offers end 30 June. Visit Mercedes-Benz Adelaide and Unley today. Terms and conditions apply.
What's got Mike singing? Mike just got an energy-efficient heat pump installed by EcoVantage. Not only is it using nearly 80% less energy than his old hot water system and saving hundreds off his power bills, he got it for free. Thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you can get your own energy-efficient heat pump from just $0. Pump your energy bills down with EcoVantage. Visit ecovantage.com.au.
In an idyllic surf town, a devoted mother is leaving her husband, but she vanishes without a trace. Bronwyn is a cold case investigative podcast by me, Hedley Thomas. Visit bronwynpodcast.com.
And who'd you get your car loan with again?
Combank.
Pit stop finance time!
They're fast.
What do you mean they're fast?
Like super fast.
Like how fast?
When you apply online, they respond in 60 seconds.
Plus the low rate!
Plus, discounted rates on EVs and hybrids.
Oh, that's even better.
All from Australia's biggest bank.
Go, go, go!
Search CommBank Car Loans. Application subject to credit approval. Lending criteria and conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. The Hyundai SUV sale is on now with incredible factory bonuses on Santa Fe and Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
18 minutes after 6 news headlines on this Monday, the 27th of May. Police are looking to speak with 2 witnesses as they continue to investigate a fatal house fire at Hackham West. Emergency services responded after the blaze broke out in the Amsterdam Road home about 8:30 Saturday morning. 2 people were inside at the time of the fire. A 61-year-old man died at the scene. There's a 46-year-old woman who was taken to hospital by ambulance with life-threatening injuries also. She's in a stable condition now, which is good news. The cause of the fire is undetermined, but there's a bit of work to do on that one yet.
Shocking.
We're going to talk more about this after 7 a.m, but out of Queensland, interesting stuff happening because, of course, they're in the midst of an election campaign. Public transport advocates say Queensland's decision to slash fares will not improve services. From August, Queensland they're cutting bus and train fares to 50 cents. Just 50 cents.
And it's 50 cents regardless of there's no zones, there's no time
nothing.
of day.
50 cents
Doesn't
is all
matter
it's
if
going to cost
you're
you.
going 1K or 100 Ks, it's just 50 cents.
Some noises out of our state government. Maybe we'll be looking to cut public transport costs as well. We're talking about that after 7 o'clock today.
But I would have thought this is financially impossible. Like, how can they do it? How can they maintain wages and maintenance and buy new stock? Or do they just treat it as like...
Sunk cost?
Yeah.
Is it greater public good?
But then, so conceivably, more people use public transport, could potentially need to hire more staff, more maintenance, and also fewer people on the roads. Say, hypothetically, 2,000 fewer people bother to register their car because they go, oh, we're just going to not have a car. So they get the rego from the cars. Like, it costs more money, doesn't it?
How does that add up financially? Or maybe, just maybe, state government's rich on the back of stamp duty and house prices going through the roof over the last 5 years. Yeah. Maybe this is a bit of return for the average taxpayer.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe. But you're right. You can quickly see how the economics of it wouldn't add up. Here's the Rail Back on Track spokesman, Robert Dow, who says it's a good start, but more needs to be done.
We're desperately fighting for improvements in the bus network, particularly outside Brisbane, in Logan and Redlands. Ipswich particularly. Is this going to affect any possible increase in our bus services in these regions where it's desperately needed? That's our real main concern at the moment.
This Papua New Guinea landslide story is just awful. The figures now coming out, scarcely believable. The expectation is some 700 people have died in this landslide in Papua New Guinea. Rescuers are searching through debris to try and reach anyone they can. Australia's obviously offering assistance. Aid worker Justine McMahon says efforts are being hampered, though, by road damage and some difficult terrain.
There's widespread devastation in a particular district in Enga province. We believe that up to 4,000 people have been affected, but possibly more, because those communities had actually taken in other people displaced by tribal violence.
Shocking. Have they said which part of PNG it's in? I mean, I think like most Australians, the only bit I know is Port Moresby.
Port Moresby. No, it's a bit more remote than that.
So it's not Port Moresby.
It's not
Port
Moresby.
So it's middle of who knows where.
Yeah, it's more inaccessible than that.
Crikey.
Ukraine is being urged to send Ukraine is urging Australia to send a shipment of coal to help meet its energy demands.
Well, we're not going to use it here.
This is
Not allowed to.
This is the great existential crisis for the Teals, isn't it? Do we save the Ukraine from imminent destruction or the planet?
That's right. As sad as what's happening is, let's not take our eyes off the climate emergency.
Yeah, that's
Mr. Zelensky. You don't want to be, I mean, in the same way that Putin is morally corrupt, we don't want to be environmentally corrupt, do we?
They might push for greater intervention now that Putin's pushing countries towards using coal.
Yeah.
They might become quite
If you thought
hawkish
the
on the
war
whole
was
thing.
bad, now this.
We jest, of course, but the reality of the situation is power plants there aren't working in Ukraine at the moment. They've lodged an official request with the federal government back in December, yet to receive a response. It's May.
Who's looking after it? The same people at immigration who are coming up with legal response to the unlawful citizens being released.
Well, I think this must be the next case
6
file.
months later.
How hard is it to say whether we're going to give you coal or not?
A simple yes or no will do.
There's renewed focus on the number of climbers dying on their way to the summit of Mount Everest due to overcrowding. 2 climbers went missing this week after reaching the top of the world's tallest peak. Social media videos show long lines to reach the summit and climbers screaming as dead bodies slide by them. Dave Lloyd, our Aberdeen correspondent, because we were speaking about summiting Everest last week on the program, sent me a video of this. It is whatever you imagine in your mind about this pristine wilderness, this untouched area where, very few human beings have dared to tread because it is obviously quite deadly. It is not anything like it. It is a long line of humanity stretching for kilometres, marching along one step at a time through. There's debris. There's just people have thrown rubbish everywhere. It looks awful.
And, of course, so many other places you can go on holiday.
That's right. There are alternatives.
You can go and stand there in the freezing cold watching, looking at corpses slide by. You can go to Bali and rent a Losman for $50 a night.
If you like the cold, maybe go to Canberra this morning. Minus 2.8 in Canberra right now.
Oh, well, the added downside that you're in Canberra.
7.4 in Adelaide, so it's not a warm one here, but it's going to be a pretty warm day. Wasn't yesterday magnificent?
Oh, it's good.
Today will be similar. 22 and sunny, just light winds. Tomorrow, 23 and sunny. 23 and sunny, mostly sunny on Wednesday. And then, how about this? Thursday, 4 to 15 mils of rain.
Oh, it's up to 15 now. It was only
4
10
to
yesterday.
15 mils of rain. Friday, top of 18, 1 to 10 mils of rain. We're going to get actual rain. That's the 30th and 31st of May. So May will finally get a decent, semi-decent amount of rain later this week. Saturday there might be a drizzle on 19. Sunday will be 20 and partly cloudy again. But
nice.
May has come to the party.
Hopefully in
quite
time
late.
for the farmers.
Yes. Well, that's getting devastating, that story now, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's that awful... And I think the Tiser carried it this morning. I can't remember which paper I read it in, but the gentleman is taking a picture saying he's got all these pregnant ewes and he's got 2 months' worth of feed left for them.
Yeah. Yeah, bad. Bad situation.
We'll talk with the Bureau shortly. Let's talk with Tom Wren first, though. It's a Monday morning. He's got his winners and losers. Experience the 2024 new gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Yeah, and David, a stack of them as well. Let's start Port and the Crows. I heard you touching on it a bit earlier. Good professional win. It was over within 20 minutes. Jordan Dawson led the charge. They smashed them. 13 goal kickers. They shared the love around. West Coast, they just didn't come to play. They're going to be fine. They're a good young side, but it's one thing to win at home, which they did last week emphatically against Melbourne, but it's another thing to do it on the road, and they learnt that yesterday, and the Crows belted them. They gave them a good old-fashioned touch-up. It was a good win.
It was ugly.
It was ugly. It was a flat game.
The one good thing about it was that at no point did West Coast, even though they had a decent patch of play in the second quarter, none of that reflected on the scoreboard.
No,
the Crows did not let them back at all, which was good.
Yeah, they just shut the door and they sort of kept the foot down. Much tougher challenge next week against a Hawthorn side, which has won 3 out of 4 and should have won 4 out of 4. They should have beaten Port.
It was a miracle that they lost.
Yep.
It took a miracle.
They are hungry and they're well coached. They're
Let's see how good the Crows are.
That's a big challenge.
And let's not go, it's hard to win over there.
Yep.
We should go to this game going, if we can't win this, then
every game's big, but
then forget about it.
2.5 games out already. It's almost every game's a mini-final, but it feels like one.
Sam Mitchell's a good coach.
Very good coach.
Right. The development job that he's doing there is...
They're going to be good.
He seems to be a really likeable person too, Sam Mitchell. Like, he looks like you'd get on well with him and you'd want to play well for him.
I think he's hard when he needs to be, but I think he's very astute. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
He's a winner. He's just a winner, and he was a hell of a player.
Yeah, was he ever?
Port Adelaide, same thing, Will. You caught it beautifully. Good professional win. The only downside, that calf strain to Willie Rioli, maybe a week or two out, but they did what they had to. Good professional performance. Wasn't a glamorous game, but they won, so they did it well. The other big winners from the weekend, I thought, were GWS and Lee Kalia. How good was that mark in the dying seconds against Geelong? That was just phenomenal.
Is it accurate, Rennie, that he was a Crows NGA? He was in the zone?
Is that right?
I saw some people alluding to that on the... I need to confirm that.
Yeah.
That would be disappointing if it turned out to be true.
Time.
I hope it's not true.
Because he looks like he can play.
Yeah.
And that was a match-saving mark. To do that, it was such high risk, but the reward was enormous. And the Cats, first time ever under Chris Scott, they've lost 4 in a row. I think they'll be okay long-term. I like what Chris Scott's doing with that list, bringing through young midfielders, Tanner Bruhn, etc. But a bit of pain there for the Cats after 7 straight wins. So the other losers from the weekend, I think it's season over. I think Brisbane are done. Isn't it funny? So often the grand finalists, and we know this so well from Adelaide, but a side that gets to the grand final, the following year everyone expects them to be up there and pushing again and maybe go one better, but it often proves to go the other way. And so it's proving with Brisbane, so much talent, and they just can't get it done. Yeah. It all started to go wrong in the off-season. We know, the reports out of, Vegas and everything going on all off the field, and they're just not translating on the field. They're nowhere at the moment.
Maybe what happened in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas.
Well, and one positive is they can go back there a bit quicker this year. They can get back there.
I don't know if that's a positive, Reddy.
Yeah. But they're just nowhere. Other winners from the weekend, Central Coast Mariners, back-to-back A-League champions. First ever to win the domestic treble. They were brilliant. They were 1-0 down against the Victory. Got the goal in stoppage time and then twice in extra time. Good result for them.
They, I think, have a legitimate claim to being Australia's best professional sporting club right now.
Yep.
Because they enjoy the benefit of being able to test themselves against international competition. It's the nature of it. But they won the AFC Cup as well. So they've won everything they could win in Australia, and they won a continental competition
Huge
as well.
result.
They won the grand final last year, I think.
Yep, back-to-back.
They lost... Off the top of my head, Sam Silvera was one of their best attacking players. Nectar Trantis, who was one of their major centre halves. They lost 3 or 4 guys because they were good, and they've come back and won every more.
They're amazing.
And they're a tiny little club, Gosford.
In Gosford.
I love them. I reckon they're awesome.
Yeah, and I think most neutral fans would have been happy to see the Victory lose.
Oh, yeah.
Leeds United, my boys, horrible result. They're going to stay in the Championship. They went down overnight, so that was terrible.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
So, another year in the Championship, that's devastating for them. Travis Head, Golden Duck, the Sunrisers Hyderabad lost the grand final last night to Mitchell Stark's Kolkata Knight Riders. Terrible start at the French Open. 3 Aussies have played, 3 have all lost. Manchester United, their winners, they won the FA Cup. Adelaide Thunderbirds had a win. And Oscar Piastri, his first podium for the year, came second at the Monte Carlo Grand Prix.
Good stuff.
A good result there for him overnight.
Absolutely. Good on you, Rennie.
Good
on you,
stuff.
Tom.
Thanks, boys.
Terrific wrap. 5AA News is coming up. We'll be back with more in a moment.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. PhysioExtra.com.
Days after a Singapore Airlines flight left dozens injured and 1 dead, a second flight has been hit by severe turbulence. UK correspondent Edward Godfrey.
The Qatar Airways flight was travelling from Doha to Dublin. It was over Turkey when the Boeing 787 Dreamliner hit bad turbulence. Passengers say it felt like it dropped for between 15 and 20 seconds. Some passengers hitting the cabin ceiling, food and belongings sent flying. The seatbelt signs were off at the time. The pilot managed to steady the plane and it landed as scheduled in Dublin, met by emergency services waiting on the tarmac. It comes just days after that major incident on the Singapore Airlines flight between London and Singapore, which was diverted to Bangkok, where a 73-year-old man died of a suspected heart attack and dozens were injured, including Australians. 40 passengers and 1 crew are still in Bangkok receiving medical treatment.
A landslide in Papua New Guinea is believed to have killed more than 670 people. The UN Migration Agency estimates hundreds are buried as rescue efforts continue. Southern District detectives are looking to speak with 2 possible witnesses as they continue to investigate a fatal house fire at Hackham West. Emergency services responded after the blaze broke out in the Amsterdam Road home just before 8:30 Saturday morning. 2 occupants were inside the home at the time of the fire. Despite the efforts of firefighters and paramedics, a 61-year-old man died at the scene. A 46-year-old woman was taken to hospital by ambulance with life-threatening injuries. She remains in hospital in a stable condition. The cause of the fire is not known. Support for keeping the 26th of January as Australia Day appears to be slipping. A new survey from the University of South Australia reveals 67% of respondents don't mind when the day falls, down from 70% in a previous survey. Today, Reconciliation Day was the most popular alternative date. Lead researcher Eliza Mortimer-Royal says while it's still a subject of contention, change looks to be stirring.
I think it's still open to debate as to what would be the best move to make. It's just suggesting primarily that a change seems to be more favourable now than ever.
The UK Prime Minister has announced national service will be made compulsory again if his Conservative Party wins the July election. The last time the UK had compulsory service was between 1947 and 1960. Rishi Sunak says the new model would apply for those who turn 18.
To be spent either in a competitive full-time military commission over 12 months or with 1 weekend per month volunteering in roles within the community, like delivering prescriptions and food to infirm people, or in search and rescue. Young people will gain valuable skills, make our country more secure, and build a stronger national culture.
One of the key composers for Disney, Richard Sherman, has died. Along with brother Robert, the pair was the perfect fit for the House of Mouse, with work including Chim Chim Cheree, a hit from the 1964 film Mary Poppins, which won them an Oscar for Best Song. Sherman was 95. And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience a 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. We'll start with some football. Adelaide has chalked up its fourth win of the year with a 99-point thumping of West Coast at Adelaide Oval last night. The Crows set up the win with 7 goals to none in the first quarter and didn't look back. Coach Matthew Nicks delighted with the response of his players after last week's heartbreaking loss to Collingwood.
I was a little nervous coming in. Isaac not being there, he's been so important for us. And him not being there with injury, where our goals are going to come from. But the group stepped up.
They certainly did. 13 goal kickers for the Crows yesterday. And there were 2 other games yesterday to wrap up the round, with Melbourne 38-point winners against St Kilda, while Hawthorn upset Brisbane by 25 points at Marvel Stadium. Well, Mitchell Starc has justified his $4.43 million IPL contract with a player of the match performance in the final against Travis Head's Sunrisers Hyderabad. The left arm quick taking 2 for 14 as Kolkata defeated the Hyderabad by 8 wickets, and that included a wicket with the 5th ball of the match. Audio thanks to Fox, that was an absolute peach. Stan Wawrinka, meantime, has just won the Battle of the Veterans in a first-round clash at the French Open, taking care of Andy Murray in straight sets. Unfortunately, not a great start for the Australians. Jordan Thompson, Alexander Vukic and Isla Tomljanovic all losing. And Graham, that is the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny and 22 today, tomorrow sunny 23, Wednesday mostly sunny 23, and then the rain. Thursday showers and 20. Right now it's 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Purchase any Hyundai until June 30 for 3 years free scheduled servicing. T's and C's apply at participating Hyundai dealers.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
25 to 7. Jade Robbins out on the road for us this morning. Thanks to the great people at Dutton's, family owned and operated for 75 years. They're easy to do business with. We'll check in with her in a moment. But this is a wonderful story. Lorna Henstridge is set to turn 110 years old. Australia's oldest woman, lives in, as I said, border town. Has been alive through 2 world wars, 2 pandemics, 5 monarchs. She's got a letter from King Charles and Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, she had the double.
She's got the double. Born here in Adelaide before being raised in Butte, and now resides at an aged care facility in Bordertown. Lived by herself, unassisted, until the age of 100 105.
That is staggering.
She was on 7 News last night.
I haven't done anything to really reach this age, I don't think. I've just gone from day to day and enjoyed it. My father used to take me on horseback to the railway crossing when I was 5 to go to school. Learn to live with other people. Get out into clubs and either play sport or join book clubs and learn more. Be active, be interested in the world, be interested with your friends. If you can do that, you'll get a certain pleasure out of living.
What great advice too.
Fantastic advice.
She's super bright. She's very completely lucid and making some very compelling points about people and curiosity and having hobbies and getting into sport. You know, there's no sort of annoying, you got to drink half a litre of yoga today sort of messaging there. It was just enjoy life. Throw yourself into life.
She's an old scholar of St Peter's Girls' School here in Adelaide, it looks like, because for her 107th birthday they put up a picture of her blowing out her candles. But she has that beautiful way of speaking that doesn't get taught or has not been passed on, but people, I think, still have very distinct Australian accents, but they have evolved, and the vowels aren't quite as rounded as people like Lorna's.
So she was born the year World War I started, 1914, 110.
Yeah, 110. Yeah,
amazing.
The year
World War One. See, it's at the point where it feels like World War II is sort of our touchstone for being older now. If you can,
there's not many left.
If you can remember World War II,
we're fast running out of diggers on Anzac Day. You look at
well, most people who are 80 were born at the start.
Yeah,
or around World War II, 39.
Were born there, but people who served in it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're very few now.
Yeah, but as a little girl, she'd remember World War I ending. She can remember when she was 5. Being taken to school on the back of a horse by her dad. She could probably remember the end of the war.
It's amazing to think she was 25 when the Second World War started.
Yeah.
Well, that's you're in the normal flow of life at that point in time. That's not like some distant, my parents had to explain it to me story.
No, you'd remember all the build-up and the rise of Hitler. You would have watched that all through your teenage years. You'd remember that the same way I remember the collapse of communism through the 80s, the end of the 80s. It's just like, I remember seeing the Berlin Wall come down on TV. Like, you'd remember seeing Hitler invade Poland.
Yeah. She's seen... Well, I don't think there's not a controversial statement at all in history. The humanity's changed more in the last 100 years than any period of 100 years before it. She's seen humankind change more than anyone else who's lived.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some would argue, sadly, she's seen it come full circle.
What does it look like in 110 more years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Helen...
Oh, who knows?
Helen in Glanville's called into the program on 8223 0000. Morning to you, Helen.
Hi, how are you?
Very
Thank
well.
you, Helen.
Good. Now, you were talking about somebody asking why people boo Horn Francis. I'll tell you, I'd be the head of the queuers, and I'd be booing as loud as I could.
What don't you like about him, Helen?
I wouldn't be proud to call him my son.
What don't you like about him?
Well, you go and you make contract with a poor old club like North Melbourne who really need him. And then he says after a year, oh, no, I don't think I want to play here. I think I'll go back to Port where my dad played. And so, fuck you, North Melbourne. I'm going back to Port Adelaide.
There's not much loyalty in footy these days, is there?
I rang Stephen about this a couple of weeks ago, and Tim asked me, haven't you ever made mistakes, Helen? And I said, I've made lots of mistakes, but that's not a mistake. And if I had made a mistake, I hope I've never made one where I've gone back on my word.
Yeah, okay. Helen, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Helen.
I think every North Melbourne fan feels exactly the same way.
Tell you what, don't go sitting next to Helen at the footy, though. She'll be dishing it up.
Yeah, that's right. Happy to boo. That's all right. 8223 You can text us to on the Dutton's text line. Dutton's Hyundai. Discover the all-new hybrid electric Santa Fe family SUV. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with. They're also driving Jade Robin around this morning. Jade, good morning to you.
Good morning. Still on the topic of footy, Crows fans are probably still flying very, very high this morning, but I'd love to ask them how they felt about the start time of yesterday's game, the 4:10 start time. The talk at junior footy yesterday was that it was a ridiculous time and that most people, they weren't going because it was just too late to get the kids, to the footy, and then, late coming home and just too late simply for the school time the next day. That's why we didn't go, but yet over 40,000 people were still at the ground yesterday. The AFL Fans Association has just released their big annual survey, which asks thousands of fans to have their say about all different topics, such as game times. And the question has been asked, do fans prefer playing in the traditional afternoon time slots instead of the twilight starts? Well, the research says 3 out of 4 fans would rather go to the game with an earlier start. 1,280 spectators have said whether they would prefer matches to kick off at 2:30 or 4:30, and overwhelming amount of people said that 2:30 time slot. That one won out big time. The question was asked also about the grand final. Should it move to a twilight time? Now, the AFL has yet to lock in that time. We know that they do consider that twilight time every year, but it's, well, other than the Perth game, has always gone to that, 2:30 traditional time slot. Everyone wants that to remain the same. The poll also asks fans to vote on everything from their favourite AFL ground to the AFL's illicit drug policy, whether a send-off rule should be introduced for violent on-field acts, and whether they have ever felt unsafe at the football. So there's about 34 questions that you can go in and ask. So you can Google AFL Fans Association 2024 survey, jump on, and you can have your say.
Good stuff, Jade. Thank you for that. The only surprising thing out of that for mine was that there's a quarter of people that think it's a decent time to have a game of football.
Yeah.
It's an awful time for a game of footy. The AFL...
It's a good time to have a game of footy on a Saturday, I reckon.
Yeah,
but not on a Sunday.
It's interesting. The path, this is a very AFL unique thing where they have gone to great and extraordinary lengths, even extending the week out now to Thursdays, which I do like, to make sure that there's as many standalone games on television as possible.
Yeah.
So they never go head-to-head. So theoretically, you can almost watch every game of footy over the weekend.
Well, you can. I don't think they overlap at all anymore, do they?
No, I think you're right. Yeah, certainly since we've got third, because there's not 2 Saturday nights anymore, is there? You're right. You can watch every single game.
Yeah.
Which, off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of other major sporting codes. It's certainly not the case in the English Premier League. It's certainly not the case in the NBA. It's not the case in the NFL. They will stretch out 3 or 4 games for a national television audience on a Sunday, but the rest are all played at the same time.
Not the case in the SANFL?
Not the case in the SANFL. Yeah, the AFL, it's really... Their relationship with the broadcaster has been... is absolute. They will change the fixturing around traditional times to accommodate maximising the TV audience more than any league on earth. Now, maybe that's been a big part of why they've been able to grow and become a dominant league. But it doesn't do great wonders for anyone who wants to go to the games, that's for sure.
As much as people like Thursday night football as a TV-based spectacle, and if you're in the lucky position of being able to go, and I think it's sort of like younger, probably people without kids who get into it, because it's a real party atmosphere. It's like a night. It's almost like going to the pub, I reckon, Thursday night football, when you're actually at the game. It feels like that. Not that I've gone there and carried on. But the hill seems busier than it normally does on a Thursday night. I reckon country people and parents, that would be a time slot where they'd go, it's a school night, for crying out loud. And it's night time on a school night. And country people can't get here at all. I reckon that would probably be, in a weird way, both one of the most popular and at the same time least popular time slots.
Let us know what you think, folks. 8223 You can text us too on the Dutton's text line 0480 1395. We'll jump at the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream to have your say. We're going to check traffic and come back with police and weather in just a moment. Jump online and get your $2 tickets for the People First Community Lottery today. T's and C's apply. SA Lottery licence number M14 521.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. A Bridgewater crash to look out for this morning. Freeway down to the Kerry Gully Road entry ramp. Another collision, this one's at Hewitt, Main North Road and the Sturt Highway interchange. Slow at the moment at Northfield, Grand Junction Road near Peter Brown Drive, and getting busy south road at Glandore. Got some roadworks there. Road plates, new speeds are 40, a bit dusty too. Cameras, Flaxman Road, Morford Vale, and Grants Gully Road at Clarendon. Take off with Flight Centre's Big Red Sale and fly Adelaide to Bali with Qantas from just $669 per person. Return. Sale ends May 28. Book now at Flight Centre. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Mate, it was so easy. Drop the car into Automasters. Next thing, I get a video on my phone.
AutoCam. It's new from Automasters.
The service advisor is there live doing a real-time report on my car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
He shows me the problem, makes a recommendation, and look, there's the quote.
So good. Totally transparent, instant SMS approval, and Automasters pay later options.
AutoCam. The future of vehicle servicing here now. Call 1300 Automasters.
When you think about it, quality household appliances make our lives so much easier. And at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, even choosing an appliance is easy. Celebrate 125 years of quality with Miele at Adelaide Appliance Gallery. With the best advice, the best appliances, and the best deals on Miele. Get 10% off, plus a 5-year warranty on Miele built-in cooking, refrigeration, dishwashing, and laundry appliances. Limited time only. Make your life easier with Miele and Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
What is palliative care? When can you access it? How do you get it? Well, tomorrow afternoon, Stacey Lee will have answers to all these questions in the Interactive Lounge.
Now, Stacey's going to be talking to Kate Sweetenham, who is the clinical lead for the end-of-life team at the Department for Health and Wellbeing, with 20 years' experience as a palliative care nurse, and also Peter Allcroft, who's a senior staff specialist at Southern Adelaide Palliative Services and the clinical lead for the South Australian Palliative Care Network.
They'll be clearing up some of the misconceptions around palliative care on air and be taking your confidential calls off air should you like to learn more. Make sure you're listening tomorrow afternoon and call 8223 0055. Until then, you can find out more at palliativecareconnect.com.au.
Tradie Night is coming soon to Toolkit Depot. For one day only, get double your member discounts store-wide, in-store and online. Plus, head in-store on the day for exclusive deals, giveaways, prizes and more. Check online or in-store for full Tradie Night details at Toolkit Depot.
I booked the car into Automasters. Next thing, there's a video on my phone.
Shows me the problem, makes a recommendation, and look, there's the quote.
So good. Totally transparent, instant SMS approval, and Automasters pay later options.
AutoCam. New from Automasters.
The Hyundai SUV sale is on now with incredible factory bonuses on Santa Fe and Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 7. We'll talk weather in a moment. Some serious rain on the way a little bit later this week. But first, Tony in Mount Barker's called in on 8223 0000. Morning to you, Tony.
G'day, boys. How are you?
Good, mate. Good,
thanks, Southeastern Freeway heading into town is a car park at the Harndorf exit, heading up towards Bridgewater. She's at absolute snail's pace, so I don't know what it is, but it's now back. It would be backed up to the Mount Barker exit, I reckon.
Oh, really? All that far?
Yeah.
We might do some more work on that, Tony, and try to get to the bottom of what's happened there. We'll make some calls, but if anyone's closer to it and can provide information, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000. In the meantime, we're going to talk weather. Jenny Horvat at the Weather Bureau joins us. Beautiful weekend, Jenny. Some beautiful days on the way today, but I think everyone looking at the forecast is going to have their eyes gravitate towards the rain later in the week.
Yeah, that's right. It's the first promising rain that we're going to see for the month. So, yeah, everyone's looking at it keenly. And, yeah, we are looking at a little bit of consistency with some rainfall coming through. So that is encouraging. But, yeah, a couple of more sunny days coming up ahead before that happens. We're at about a minimum temperature at the moment here in the city, 7.2 degrees at the West Terrace Nidapura observation site. And we are aiming for a sunny 22 degrees in the city, 23 for Elizabeth, 21 along the coast, 22 for Mount Barker. Similar conditions tomorrow, maybe not quite as cool in the morning, that minimum temperature around 10 or 11 degrees just with that northerly airstream. Top temperature of around 23 degrees, still pretty sunny out there. Mostly sunny conditions for Wednesday as well, again 23 with that minimum around 11 degrees. As we head on into Thursday, we'll start to see some showers developing probably in the morning at this time, but we'll watch that timing And it looks like, the best chance to see some rain for a very long time here in the city and actually statewide.
Oh, that's good.
Showers continuing on Friday in that westerly flow following that change. Maybe a shower or two lingering on Saturday, but really starting to dry up during the afternoon. Dry conditions returning on Sunday.
So, Jenny, you said statewide. That'll be music to the ears of our country listeners, particularly those working on the land. It sounds like country areas will be included in what...
Yeah, that's right. Just a matter of whether it's enough, but it's a start.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Thank you for that, Jenny.
Thank you.
Jenny Horvat from the Bureau of Meteorology.
All right, let's head to Safe Pulse. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes is on the line. Rebecca, good morning to you. There's been a house fire at Enfield.
Yes, emergency services were called to Park Terrace, Enfield, just before 4:30am this morning by reports of a fire. The side of a house and overgrown garden was on fire. That house is vacant and there were no reports of any injuries. MFS extinguished the fire, which caused cosmetic damage only to the outside of the structure, but a neighbour's van parked in the driveway next door also sustained some damage. Our fire cause investigators have just arrived at the scene this morning. We are treating this fire as suspicious and ask anyone who saw any activity in or around this property in Park Terrace, Enfield in recent days, or has any dash cam or CCTV footage that may assist, to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And Rebecca, there was another fire, this time a car fire in Woodville West overnight.
Yes, nothing went right for this driver last night. This happened about 1:45am. Police and MFS were called to Toddville Street, Woodville West, after reports that a Holden sedan was on fire in the street. Witnesses reported seeing the driver of the car running south as the fire took hold. When patrols arrived at the scene, they found evidence that the Holden had crashed beforehand into a tree on West Lakes Boulevard before it limped into Toddville Street, leaking a trail of petrol. And that petrol went up in flames, and so did the car just south of Elizabeth Street. And MFS extinguished the fire, but the car was destroyed. Luckily, there was no damage to any other property in that street. Police attended the registered owner's address, which was only a couple of streets away, and spoke to the 28-year-old Woodville West man who recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.093. He's been reported for drink driving, driving without due care, leaving the scene of an accident. He's lost his licence on the spot for 6 months. His car's gone up in flames, and he'll appear in court at a later date.
Quite an evening for that bloke.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, big Sunday night.
Just before we let you go, Rebecca, what do you know about what's happening on the freeway this morning?
Yeah, police are at the scene of a crash. It sounds like a 2 or 3 car rear-ender on the down track heading into the city on the freeway. It's about 800 metres before the Bridgewater turn-off. It's in the inside lane. Luckily, everyone looks to be out of their vehicles and there's no serious injuries reported. Those cars, as I said, they're on the inside lane on the city-bound. However, I don't think they've managed to pull completely into that left-hand lane, so they're sticking out, blocking traffic, and as you heard from your caller earlier, it is causing traffic to bank up. So they'll probably drop the speed limit there, but really go slow because there'll be emergency vehicles and people standing on the side of the road, so just take care. Maybe, leave a bit earlier if you can go around, but to expect that you might be a bit late coming into work this morning.
All right. Good advice. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Rebecca Stokes there from Sapole.
All right, let's head to the US. Tim Lester for 7 News joins us. Tim, tornadoes right across the southern part of America causing havoc at the moment.
They are, and in fact, last month, April, was America's second worst or second most prolific month for tornadoes on record. And in some respects, it's looking like this month has been worse, at least in patches. And overnight, a tornado ripped through a community north of Fort Worth, Dallas, killing 7, 4 of them children. An horrific scene, and we're seeing pictures of people taking shelter in a gas station or a petrol station where about 40 people clambered apparently into the bathrooms because there aren't windows in there and hid from this tornado as it just ripped through a community. Terrifying stuff at the moment. The latest death toll just overnight stands at 15. So really destructive weather.
Yeah, it's terrible, Tim. And it feels like it's only just starting. We're going into the period when the weather in the sort of Gulf states and further north becomes unstable. So it's a pretty ominous start to the season.
It's a very ominous start, and this is of course about the temperature of the water, in this case in the Gulf of Mexico, driving the warm air coming off that water heading north and hitting colder air. creates the tornadoes, and of course also increases hurricane risk. And the latest hurricane forecast in the US, put out just days ago, suggests they're battening down for one of their worst ever hurricane seasons in the weeks ahead, for precisely the same reason: warm water driving the warm air that whips up these truly horrific storms.
Yeah. Full on. Geez, 7 people in Dallas-Fort Worth. Unbelievable. Tim Lester there in the US for 7 News. Thanks for that, mate.
Now, it's historically been the thing of Out of Ideas, Midnight to Dawn talk hosts and columnists at a loose end. The question, should we bring back national service? But now it's been put on the agenda in a very real policy sense by Rishi Sunak in the UK election campaign. The return of national service. Does it have merit? What's the model? How's it going to work? You're going to hear from Rishi Sunak in our 7 o'clock wrap after 5AA News. But is there any merit to the idea? Do you like the thought? 8223 It's nice to be able to do this legitimately. It's an actual news story.
There's a genuine news hook to it.
It's not just a thought bubble. Oh, you can text us, of course, 0480081395.
Is one of the reasons why we've got to spend billions and billions and billions of dollars on things like subs, and now we're talking about getting drones, is one of our key problems that we don't have enough people who want to join the army?
Yeah, I think it is.
Because, like,
maybe not subs. Subs is a unique thing about controlling sea lanes and trade and being an island nation. But I think
the key thing is
autonomous vehicles certainly are, drones and so forth.
Yeah, have you got enough people, and are they prepared to die for their country? Are you prepared to die for your country? See, sort of countries where state power is immense and unquestioned are much better at getting people to answer yes to that question.
Well, they might die of other means, I guess. That's the coercive power.
In the back of your head, little dates that some people remember, like the 4th of June, 1989, a date that, if you Google that in China, you don't find out anything about it, but I'm sure that word gets around that, things like, you'd better stay in your house during the pandemic. That's why there's razor wire all over the apartment downstairs. Like, us versus the People's Liberation Army does seem a little bit one-sided, doesn't it?
It does. Is national service the answer, though? The UK is saying they're on a pre-war footing. That's actually this has been treated with a degree of mirth, but there's actually a pretty remarkable sort of rhetorical undertone to all this. But we're going to talk about it. You're going to hear from Rishi Sunak next on 5AA Breakfast, and as always, we love to hear your thoughts.
Tonight on the summit, step by step, friendship is conquering the mountain.
We have formed deep and meaningful bonds. Well done!
But
oh my God.
One knife-twisting, heartbreaking decision threatens
Sam will be responsible for sending one of you home.
to tear them apart.
I was not expecting that.
A summit blockbuster. Tonight, 7:30 on 9 and 9 Now.
At Coles, there's great value hands down for easy lunches. Like Wild Tides tuna, 95 grams, now half price at just $1.25 each. Just $1.25. That's great value, hands down, at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
Series Music is making history with Adelaide's biggest ever music sale. Well over $1 million worth of gear has been priced to clear. Get up to 60% off drums, up to 30% off electric guitars, bass guitars, amps and accessories, with discounts on keyboards, brass and woodwind PA systems and more. Series Music is serious about clearing the entire store with over $1 million worth of gear priced to clear. In-store only right now. This is a once-only opportunity. Series Music, 41 McGill Road, Stepney.
When I grow up, I want to build houses.
At age 8, Leah has one dream: to build a house for her family. But that dream is slipping out of reach. Leah tries so hard at school, but poverty is holding her back. Without the things she needs for school, Leah is falling behind. Will you give Leah the support she needs to catch up, realise her dream, and build a better tomorrow? Search the Smith family and donate today.
The very latest news and information. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
12 people have been injured when a Qatar Airways plane flying from Doha to Dublin hit turbulence over Turkey. 8 people were hospitalised. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner landed safely as scheduled. These Australians were on board.
I've settled down now, but it was quite scary. The plane just seemed to go stop, which it didn't, but then dropped. Quite a severe drop. There was a couple of passengers that didn't have seatbelts on, so they were thrown in front of us. They were thrown out of their seats and hit their head.
The state government has no plans to follow Queensland's lead to drop public transport fares. Queensland is beginning a 6-month trial aimed at easing cost of living pressure and reducing traffic congestion. SA commuters pay the highest fares nationally for short-distance trips, and there's a 15% hike coming up in August. The state government says prices would be looked at when trains and trams come under government control in July. Chilling new evidence shows social media and smartphones are creating an epidemic of depression, anxiety and suicide among children. A social psychologist has spent years conducting the groundbreaking research. Jonathan Haidt says mental health in teenagers has worsened dramatically since the early 2010s in the developed world. He's told 60 Minutes we have lost play-based childhood and it's making children ill.
Something happened in the early 2010s that sent teen mental health spiraling downward. So what we see in the United States, when we graph out the percent of American teens who suffer from anxiety, depression, those who self-harm, those who are hospitalized.
Police are investigating a house fire at Enfield this morning. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says it broke out on Park Terrace around 4:30.
The side of a house and overgrown garden was on fire. That house is vacant and there were no reports of any injuries. MFS extinguished the fire, which caused cosmetic damage only to the outside of the structure, but a neighbour's van parked in the driveway next door also sustained some damage.
The blaze is being treated as suspicious. Ukraine is asking Australia for more coal to help meet its energy needs as Russia bombards its power plants. The European nation lodged an official request in December, but is worried the shipment won't arrive in time for winter. Footy fans overwhelmingly prefer afternoon games over twilight and night fixtures. Polling of more than 1,200 people found 76% of people prefer games starting before 4:30. AFL Fans Association President Ron Isco says twilight games are hard on families with young children.
If you're going to have twilight and night games, the preference would be Saturday over Sunday because of school the next day. But overwhelmingly, fans are telling us, and we're just a mouthpiece for the fans, they're telling us, if we've got the choice, give us day games.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And now here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide has jumped up to 12th on the AFL ladder. That's following an impressive 99-point belting of West Coast at Adelaide Oval. After a draw with Brisbane and then narrow loss against Collingwood, Coach Matthew Nick says it was a good reward for his players.
It's been a strong 5 or 6 weeks for us where we've built confidence but probably found ourselves frustrated. So today was a nice reward for that form that we feel we do have. But it means nothing. We've got to come out again next week now.
Yeah, they certainly do. Things are set to get much tougher next week for the Crows. They come up against the red-hot Hawthorn at the MCG on Saturday afternoon. The Hawks have now won 3 of their past 4 after upsetting last year's grand finalist Brisbane by 25 points at Marvel Stadium. And there was one other game yesterday with Melbourne taking care of St Kilda by 38 points at the MCG in a result that sees the D's move up to 4th. Let's get to motorsport, and a great result for Aussie Oscar Piastri, finishing second at the Monte Carlo Grand Prix for his first podium of the season. The race was won by Charles Leclerc, while Max Verstappen was 6th. Daniel Ricciardo was just outside the points as he finished in 12th. Well, South Aussie Travis Head has finished with a golden duck in the IPL as his Sunrisers Hyderabad were beaten by 8 wickets in the final by Mitchell Stark's Kolkata Knight Riders. And in some golf, Richard Bland has won the Senior PGA Championship. There were plenty of Aussies up there in the finish, with Richard Green, Greg Chalmers and Scott Hend all finishing in the top 5. Meantime, American Davis Riley's on the verge of a second PGA Tour win, currently leading the Charles Schwab Challenge in Texas by 4 shots with a couple of holes to play. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there. Crash to look out for this morning at Bridgewater. It's on the freeway down track near the Carey Gully Road entry ramp. Crash at Hewitt, Main North Road to the Sturt Highway interchange. And slow for works at Northfield, Green Junction Road near Peter Brown Drive. Getting busy at the moment. South Road at Glandore for works. Got speeds at 40 with the camera. Hillier Road at Ranella. Is it time to level up your business? For a limited time, ABN holders can access national fleet pricing on Renault Traffic Van. T's and C's apply. Drive away today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Sunny and 22 today, tomorrow sunny 23, Wednesday mostly sunny 23, then some good news. Thursday showers and 20. Right now it's 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
The Hyundai SUV sale is on now with incredible factory bonuses on Santa Fe and Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 7, do not adjust your radio. You heard correctly. Rain forecast for the end of May. Last 2 days of May, 30th and 31st. Potentially significantly up to 15 mils one day and up to 10 the next. You imagine it'll be somewhere in the middle of that figure. But finally, some rain on the way as we start this week, the 27th of May today.
Coming up, using our backyard lawns in the suburbs at the moment as a bit of a bellwether for what must be happening in rural, they say. It looks like just looks like powder, the dirt in our yard at the moment. Doesn't help that kids play sport there 2 hours a day, but you'd rather them do that and have a perfect lawn.
Yeah, that's it. Just getting some, getting the wicket to play in a consistent manner. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what's important.
Some good rough to bowl into in our yard.
The South Eastern Freeway is causing some issues this morning. Here's Tony.
Southeastern Freeway heading into town is a car park at the Hahndorf exit, heading up towards Bridgewater. She's an absolute snail space, so I don't know what it is, but it's now back. It would be backed up to the Mount Barker exit, I reckon.
So that's something to be wary of. We spoke with SAPOL. A crash does seem to be to blame, but if any more information, be much appreciated. 8223 0000. Speaking of being out on our roads, if public transport was 50 cents a pop, would you use it? Would you be more likely to use it? Would you use it more regularly? Would you consider going without a car? The reason we ask, Queensland in the midst of an election campaign at the moment, and the government there, under Premier Stephen Miles, have promised to slash all rides to just 50 cents. It's prompted a re-examination of what we do here in South Australia, and the Advertiser's done a good job of this morning, analysing the fact that we pay the highest fare nationally on single short trips. Highest
by
fare,
a huge margin.
By a huge margin. It's going to go up by 15 cents in July as well. Because we don't have a zone system, you don't get any benefit from travelling a short distance on a bus, train or tram. It costs $4.25 during peak hours. Now compare that and think of the cost of living differential otherwise to a place like Sydney, where it's a $4 adult peak fare if you travel up to 10Ks and $3.20 for bus passengers travelling under 3Ks. Now that adds up if that's your means of transport every single day over the course of a year. The good news is, and I think this is an important bit of reporting in the Times this morning, a state government spokesman says prices will be examined once trains and trams were returned to public hands by July. So maybe we'll see something like this on the way for South Australia. Here is the Premier of Queensland, Stephen Miles.
It's all about addressing congestion as well as easing the cost of living. For a commuter from here at Mango Hill, it can cost $9.60 to get into town, and from the 5th of August, that'll be 50 cents. And I really hope that means less people battling the traffic on the Bruce Highway and our other major arterials. It's great for the region. It applies right across the state, so our provincial cities have public transport too, and they'll all be 50 cents as well.
There's a point to be made about whether this is sensible policy or something that a government that looks like it's sort of marching into the electoral abyss, because everyone's saying that the Labor government there, because this new guy, Stephen Miles, took over from Anastasia Palaszczuk, who quit a bit over a year ago, or around about a year ago, I think, from memory. And he's like the sort of, the latter-day Joan Kerner. He's been handed the poison chalice right at the end of the life of a government. Everyone thinks the CLP are going to win up there, so maybe it's a bit like Richie Sunak with his national service.
We'll get to that in just a moment.
Yeah. last act of a desperate man. Having said that, that doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad idea.
No, that's right. I'm intrigued to know what our listeners think about 50 cent rides. 8223 You can text us on the Duttons text line. Are fares too expensive here in South Australia?
Well, there's one here already on the Duttons text line saying if it didn't cost me $8.50 a day, I would catch the train. My EV cost me $2 a day in power and $12 for parking. There's no real cost benefit in catching the train.
Yeah, that's the issue we have in Adelaide at the moment, isn't it?
Simon in Tanunda says public transport's already hugely subsidised anyway, so why don't you just make it free?
You're getting awfully close at that point, aren't you?
Well, 50 cents, you're sort of going, well, you know, the number of people going per day means that is significant money. If you're making a good $250,000 a day, you'd think.
There is an economic theory about applying a nominal fee to anything because of what they call the propensity to overconsume. If things are free, people, like if you go to a buffet and all the bread rolls are free, people will take far more bread rolls than they ever intend on eating. But if you put even 5 cents on, people they'll be more likely to behave in a way that's consistent with what they need. But I don't think that applies necessarily to public transport. I don't know what's the downside of too many people using the bus and train. I don't see it. So there's probably an argument to make it completely free at that point. Greg in Alberton's on the line. What do you think about this, Greg?
Hi, good morning. Look, it's costed by the public transport, but the government anyway, so it's sharing the equity a little bit better, but I think the focus should be trying to get more people to use it and get their cars off the road. I think that's the focus.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We do seem to have a problem. I wonder if a bit the nature of how expensive here is in Adelaide relates to the fact that it is not as well patronised here as it is in other places. It's a chicken or egg, isn't it? You need more people to demand it to get a better service, but you need a good service for people who want to actually use it. And we seem to be caught betwixt and between on that front here in South Australia.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. Keep those calls coming in, 8223 What was the turn of phrase you used a moment ago? Marching towards the electoral abyss.
Marching towards the abyss.
Could be applied to Rishi Sunak and the Conservatives in the UK. They're 4 days into election campaign, and they've rolled out compulsory national service for 18-year-olds as a policy. That said, it's not that well fleshed out. They're going to have a Royal Commission to have a look at how it might work, so it's a thought at this point in time. But here's the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, explaining that thought.
We have so much to be proud of in Britain, but one of the problems in our society is that we have generations of young people who don't have the opportunities they deserve. Britain today faces a future that is more dangerous and more divided. There's no doubt our democratic values are under threat. That is why we will introduce a bold new model of national service for 18-year-olds, to be spent either in a competitive full-time military commission over 12 months, or with 1 weekend per month volunteering in roles within the community, like delivering prescriptions and food to infirm people, or in search and rescue. Young people will gain valuable skills, make our country more secure, and build a stronger national culture. This ambition benefits our country and our young people alike. Just look at Sweden, where 80% of young people completing national service say they'd recommend it to their friends. Uncertain times call for a clear plan and bold action to chart a course to a secure future. Our plan will ensure new generations and our country meet the challenges of the uncertain world. Keir Starmer and Labour don't have a clear plan and won't take the bold action to navigate to a more secure future.
Geez, that voice is a cure for insomnia, isn't it? And that music, the music playing in the background made it sound like Britain's actually already at war, didn't it?
Well, I think as interesting and intriguing as a policy position is, that the things that have been said around it are just as insightful. So the Prime Minister has said, and his ministers, that this is sort of a pre-war footing they're on in the UK. That the international situation is deteriorating and they need to look at things like this. That's a pretty dramatic thing to say, but it mirrors what's happening in the rest of Europe. There's long-standing national service, like in a place like Switzerland, but France, Macron announced something similar recently. Sweden has it. It's not without precedent in Western Europe we're talking about here as well.
Well, the immediacy of it. You've got a land war underway in Europe, entering its second year.
The other thing
You've
that's
got the
interesting,
Baltic states and you know, your people in Poland all looking at Russia going, this guy's nuts enough to come after us again.
The Poles are outspending everyone in Europe on defence at the moment. Like a staggering sum of money's being spent every year. The interesting thing, a part of this, and Rishi Sunak doesn't say it in that grab, but you can spend a year in the armed forces or a year in cyber defence,
That's really interesting.
Which is fascinating because it gives you a sense of, we know there are shortfalls in terms of people wanting to join the military, but I wonder how many people we actually need to try and protect our country from cyber attacks right now. We've got no concept, but clearly we don't have enough if that's part of what's also being talked about.
Well, you'd think if we could harness the man-hours spent by every Australian under the age of 15 playing Minecraft and Roblox.
They're probably the best people equipped to fight cyber attacks.
Totally. You know, they can't unpack the dishwasher, but they know how to get to level 156 on Fortnite in record time. And kids, I hope you're listening.
What do you think, folks? National service, any merit to this? The other thing is, and he's been at pains to say this as well, Richie Senate, we're not sending kids off to war. Part of this is you could choose to work for the elderly on weekends.
Yeah, well, that part of it, I think that part of it's good.
822 300 What are your instant thoughts on that one, folks? You can text us to on the Dutton's text line 04808.
I'll be honest, if any of the kids came to me and said, I've decided to become a soldier, I want to work for the ADF, I think in my heart of hearts, as a parent, I would say, are there any other jobs that interest you that don't involve the prospect that you might actually get shot? I reckon a lot of parents, if they're honest, would feel the same way. But, you know, all the other things you rattle off there, the community service part of it, the cyber part of it, you don't necessarily have to, you know, wind up, you know, face to face, staring at the enemy in a trench.
No, I don't think that's necessarily the case either. Dutton's Hyundai discovered the all-new hybrid electric Santa Fe family SUV. Dutton's, they're easy to do business. Do we have any texts on this front?
We have quite a lot on public transport and quite a lot on national service as well. One here, national service is a great idea. Whether or not one is on a war footing, it can give direction to young people who are lacking it. Jane with a Y says it's a great idea. We should do it here, give our people some direction and training, especially some of the other opportunities. And a lot of people saying to the point about, well, if we're going to make public transport 50 cents, we should just make it free. Mark from Para Hills rightly points out that Matt Pantelis has been advocating free transport for ages. I just saw Matt in the office. He made it back safely from Sejuna.
Looking forward to his program today. I think it's going to be fascinating.
It's going to be really interesting. Jimbo says, this is funny. I would use public transport at 50 cents a trip. However, we don't have any bus services here in Two Wells.
Okay.
See, I think there'd be a lot of people in Mount Barker who, in theory, would love to catch the train for 50 cents. It's just they don't have a train.
Bill in North Haven's called in on national service. Morning to you, Bill.
How you going?
Good, mate.
Good, yeah. I think it's a wonderful idea because I don't know if you know or aware that in Switzerland, all 18-year-olds must go in their show for they have to go in for 12 months over there. And not only do they serve their country good, the thing that they do with them is while they're doing their training, they put them out on the streets as like policemen, like looking for the graffiti artists and all that type of thing. And you don't find any graffiti in Switzerland because if you get caught with graffiti in Switzerland, you go straight in the slammer and for 6 weeks, and they make you paint sheds and then clean the paint off the sheds. That's how they run their system over there. And every male, when he comes out of national service, he also takes home with him a gun. So every male over 18 in Switzerland has got a gun. And they don't have any murders in Switzerland. Like we have murders every day here. Over there they don't have any, and that same thing flows through to Austria as well. They use the same system. So, and both those countries are clean and law-abiding, and you don't see the graffiti all over the countryside.
Thank you, Bill.
Good on you, Bill.
Appreciate that. Keep the thoughts coming through. I think it's going to be an interesting debate over the course of the morning. Just a quick last note. We've had another air turbulence issue.
Whereabouts?
Overnight. 12 people injured in a Qatar Airways flight from Doha to Dublin. The flight landed in Dublin, was met by emergency services. According to a statement from Dublin Airport, 6 passengers and 6 crew members were injured in the incident, 8 of which were taken to hospital following assessment. The Qatar Airways flight QR107 experienced turbulence over Turkey, so they had to fly a fair way before they landed with those injured people on board. Of course, this comes just days after 104 people were injured and someone died on the Singapore Airlines flight. Have a listen to Cheryl, who was on board.
I'm feeling okay. I've settled down now, but it was quite scary. The plane just seemed to go stop, which it didn't, but then dropped. quite a severe drop. And then, fortunately, the captain got it under control quite quickly, because I was thinking, oh, it's going to keep falling. But unfortunately, there was a couple of passengers that didn't have seatbelts on, so they were thrown in front of us. They were thrown out of their seats and hit their head. The food trolley was coming down the aisle, and he was just past our seat, bending down, asking us what we wanted for lunch, when that went up in the air and then toppled over. So there was food coming out of all of the little trays there, all over the floor. Food with people that were already eating. Their food had got thrown up into the ceiling on the plane, all over the floor.
I wonder if this is the week that kills the little seatbelt sign on planes. It just becomes compulsory to wear a seatbelt at all time. And it becomes a bit like the smoking
Unless you absolutely need to go to the loo.
Yeah.
People just sit there. But I think it'll certainly, regardless of what the sign does or doesn't say, it'll change behaviour.
Yeah.
I read an article yesterday about there's big talk about major compo payments from Singapore Airlines now to the people who are on that ill-fated flight last week. But some of the injuries that the people have got, they're life-altering. Brain injuries.
Adelaide woman, they're not sure whether
paralysis,
she's going to walk again.
Yeah, terrible.
All right, let's check traffic. Jump online and get your $2 tickets for the People First Community Lottery today. T's and C's apply. SA Lottery number M14521.
Thanks, Will. Crash to look out for at Bridgewater this morning. It's on the freeway down track near the Kerry Gully Road entry ramp. Got some pretty solid delays inbound at the moment. Another collision. This one's at Hewitt Main North Road near the Sturt Highway interchange. Slow for work, South Road Glandore. Road plates in use, their speeds at 40, pretty dusty. And got cameras Main South Road, Hunfield Heights and Sheriff's Road at Ranella. Sign up to Edgy Saver to get a great rate on your energy with your rate locked until July 2025. Search Engie to learn more about Engie Saver today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Trish at Prospect. G'day, Trish.
I rang a few weeks ago regarding my son and his application for disability support pension. He finally got granted the claim, so I just wanted to say thank you to you guys. The process is so rigid.
Matthew Pantelis.
I just want to say thank you.
No worries, Trish.
And good on you for helping people.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
You've already heard. There's 2 grand prizes and 2 grand prize winners in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. But did you know there are more than 11,000 prizes, giving you a 1 in 15 chance to win? Even better, get your tickets by Friday and you could win one of 3 early bird prizes worth $100,000. Only 4 days remain. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. HomeLottery.com.au. Licence in 14548.
Companies and small business that use one solution for their IT management, cybersecurity and AI implementation are always ahead of the curve and ready for anything. One Solution is local too, a full-service technology company right here in Adelaide, offering a diverse range of solutions across IT, telecommunications, phone and mobile systems, cybersecurity and AI. Today, more than ever, it's important to safeguard your business. Do it with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
We all know the housing crisis is not going anywhere soon. In fact, recent reports seem to suggest it's getting worse. But if you're a landlord and you're looking to sell, you have the power to make a difference, a really big difference.
You certainly do with the great people at McGain, because they've got hundreds of landlords looking to buy right now. So get in touch with the great team at McGain and sell your property to another landlord, and you'll save on the advertising fees too.
It means your current tenants will have somewhere to live, their kids can go to the same school, hang out with the same friends, and at the end of the day, they'll still have a place to call home, which is the most important thing of all.
As a landlord looking to sell, you have the power to make a big difference to the housing crisis, and McGain can help you make it happen. Visit mcgain.com.au.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. To beat the summer heat, Yes can connect you with a new air conditioner thanks to the SA government initiative called REPS. Yes is offering eligible concession households a fully installed 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $8.99. Yes, $8.99. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yess.net.au.
Join the great cover-up and get a Woolco Guardian pool cover. Made right here in SA, a Woolco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump. Put your pool to bed for winter. Visit woolco.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Purchase any Hyundai until June 30 for 3 years free scheduled servicing. T's and C's apply at participating Hyundai dealers.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast. Stephen Rowe on 5AA Breakfast.
Well, it's a Monday morning and everybody won. Well, if you go for the Crows or Port, that is. Stephen Rowe joins us. Does that make it a good Monday, Rowe? Are you feeling good?
Oh, what a cracking morning too. Crisp air, not a cloud in the sky. How is this weather? I think it's going to rain toward the end of the week, and boy, do we need it. Pembo and Will, good morning. Yeah, look, an easy weekend for Port. A 10-goal win against North Melbourne in Hobart. They sit third on the ladder with the third best percentage. I think if we look ahead to Carlton Thursday night, we'll learn a lot about these two teams. Obviously, you know, gunning for top 4 and maybe a contender for the flag. So Thursday night's going to be a massive game for Port, don't you think?
Huge game.
Oh, it's going to be.
Yeah.
The build up to Thursday night is going to be massive this week. Can't wait.
Yeah, no, it'll be ripping. And on the Crows front, smashed the Eagles by 99 points. They kicked the first 7 goals, just blew the game apart. Eagles were never in it. It was, I reckon, a classic Crows performance. They had, 13 different goal kickers. The old all played well flag went up, and that's when they are at their best. I reckon Fogg's been building for a month. That was his best game for the year. Dawson's first quarter. God.
Insane, wasn't it?
Scholl, B. Smith, Dan Curvis. I mean, that was their best game for the year. Schomburg's back, great. Even guys like Cook just go about their business. They play their role, kick 2 goals. It was a magical win. It was a fantastic win after last week. So, no, well done to them. That was a great win.
Hey, Rowie, you don't mind having the odd, you shoot your mouth off a bit, and that's one of the reasons why we love you. You have a crack at the umps, you fire up about players that you don't like. We've been talking this morning, why the hell are Crows supporters, or why indeed would anybody boo Harley Reid? What's that kid ever done to upset anyone or offend anyone? He's never left a club, to the extent that that's apparently a hanging offence these days. He's not a dirty player. He's playing his 10th game of football. I think those Crows fans who booed him need to pull over and give themselves a good hard look in the mirror.
Give themselves an uppercut. Look, I'm a booer. I don't get that one. I certainly get, if you like, the Jason Horne-Francis one. But, yeah, Harley Reid, what's he just turned 19? He's played 10 games. He's been on the back page of the West Australian 27 times. Probably be on there again today. Look, no, I don't get that. I think he showed, I don't know. Let's ask him. But you know what? I'm never going to tell someone not to boo. I don't get it, but you pay your money, you go to the game, you do what you want. And I reckon it was only a pocket of people, wasn't it? Generally, when I'm at a game, if about 3 or 4 people next to you boo, you just join in. You know, I'm a little bit of a sheep, you know. And then I'll turn to someone, hey, who are we booing? What's this all about? I think there's a little bit of the herd mentality.
Well, no,
with that.
you're right. There is herd mentality.
There wouldn't be too much in it, but I tell you what, they were awful, the Eagles. They're going to need more than Harley Reid if they keep dishing that up. I just hope Harley Reid, here's the thing I'll say, I hope he keeps having his ice baths. Just keep getting in it. The minute he doesn't get in an ice bath, the Eagles will lose him. Fair dick, if they lost him, oh my goodness. Hey, before I go, can I just say the French Open is underway at Roland Garros, day 1, no Aussie winners. I want a big shout out, Oscar Piastri came second in the Monaco Grand Prix, Aussie Oscar. That was a great drive, no question. And Mitch Stark, he ripped through Pat Cummins' Sunrisers, they won the IPL. You know the World Cup starts, well, our first game, June the 6th versus Oman. The World Cup starts next week for cricket. I wonder if anyone will tune into that.
Which form of cricket are we talking
One
about?
day? Or,
yeah,
no.
there you go.
With
there you go,
50,
T20.
50 over, or T20.
Oh, T20.
No, T20. There you go.
Yeah.
See, no one knows. Cricket it out.
Capture the imagination.
Big show. We'll see you at 4. Well done, fellas.
Good on you. Good on you, Roy.
Right.
They should really hold it in someone's driveway and have things like,
What? Why is it a thing?
6 and out if you hit the hydrangeas. Things like that.
That'd be way better. I'd watch that. That'd be excellent. All right, more on the Sports Show tonight. Rowie and Timmy G. We're going to take a break. 5AA News, then Stacey Lee.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. PhysioExtra.com.
Severe turbulence has rocked another international flight, injuring 12 people on board. The Qatar Airways plane flying from Doha to Dublin experienced turbulence over Turkey. The incident has occurred less than a week after a similar incident saw dozens of passengers injured on a flight from London to Singapore. CNN aviation analyst Miles O'Brien has told Today it highlights the importance of wearing a seatbelt.
We can predict big weather patterns. We certainly can see thunderstorms as pilots and avoid them. But there are these invisible currents, these cross currents of air, which can cause these huge abrupt altitude changes, and the aircraft moves violently. So if you're in your seat, stay buckled, loosely buckled, and you won't get hurt.
An undersea 6.6 magnitude earthquake has occurred near Tonga. Authorities say there is no tsunami threat to the Australian coast. Yesterday, Vanuatu was rocked by a 6.4 quake north of the capital, Port Vila. A man's been reported after his car crashed and caught fire at Woodville West this morning. Fire crews were called to Toddville Street around 1:45, where the Holden sedan was alight. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says the driver had fled the scene.
When patrols arrived, they found evidence that the Holden had crashed beforehand into a tree on West Lakes Boulevard before it limped into Toddville Street, leaking a trail of petrol. And that petrol went up in flames, and so did the car just south of Elizabeth Street. And MFS extinguished the fire, but the car was destroyed. Luckily, there was no damage to any other property.
Police attended the registered owner's address a few streets away. The 28-year-old man allegedly blew .093 and was reported for drink driving, driving without due care, and leaving the scene of an accident. A vacant house went up in flames at Enfield this morning. The blaze broke out in Park Terrace just before 4:30, spreading to the neighbour's van parked next door. It's being treated as suspicious. Rental inflation is tipped to reach its highest point since the global financial crisis. Investment group Jarden believes current price growth will see rents remain high until 2026, with inflation reaching 10% this year. Migration and low rental vacancy rates are the biggest factors pushing up rental costs. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is promising to bring back national service for residents if he wins the election. Unlike conscription, which legally requires residents to join the army, the proposed scheme would make it mandatory for young people to complete a community program for 12 months or a year-long military training scheme. After a beautiful weekend and sunny days start to the week, the end is in sight for the long dry spell. Up to 15 mils is forecast for Thursday. Jenny Horvat from the Bureau says the showers will continue for a couple of days.
Best chance to see some rain for a very long time here in the city and actually statewide. The showers continuing on Friday in that westerly flow following that change. Maybe a shower or two lingering on Saturday, but really starting to dry up during the afternoon.
And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Now here's Tom Redden.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide has bounced back to the winners list in a big way, demolishing West Coast by 99 points at home. The Crows had 13 goal kickers, Captain Jordan Dawson leading the way in a best-on-ground performance with 32 touches and a couple of goals. Eagles coach Adam Simpson says after last week's impressive win over Melbourne, they took a step back.
I don't think anything can be an excuse for what we did. We're really disappointed, but also aware of where we're at in our journey and making sure we learn from it and we bounce back next week. That's our priority. We just can't get too low on this one. As much as we're disappointed, we've got to get going again.
And speaking of the Demons, they jumped up to fourth on the ladder with a 38-point win over St Kilda yesterday. While in the other round 11 game to wrap up the round, Hawthorn enjoyed a 25-point upset victory over Brisbane. Well, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc has won his home Grand Prix in Monaco, the first time in 93 years a local has won the race.
The grandstands he saw built as a kid growing up now rise for him, and for the first time in 93 years this fabled race is won by one of their own. Charles Leclerc wins the Monaco Grand Prix to achieve his dream.
Great result there for him. Aussie Oscar Piastri was second for his first podium of the year. Fellow Aussie Daniel Ricciardo came 12th. Well, Andy Murray's French Open is over. He was knocked out in straight sets in the first round by Stan Wawrinka. And American Davis Riley has won his second PGA event after taking out the Charles Schwab Challenge in Texas by 5 shots. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there, got a crash at Bridgewood, look out for it. It's on the freeway inbound to the Kerry Gully Road exit. Got a few delays there at the moment, but they are clearing, which is good. Hewitt got a crash, Main North Road near the Sturt Highway interchange. Busy at Northfield, Grand Junction Road near Peter Brown Drive. Slow going Brighton Road, Brighton, with the camera Flax Mill Road at Morford Vale. When the lucky country isn't so lucky, you're with Amy. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny and 22 today, tomorrow sunny 23, Wednesday mostly sunny 23, then believe it or not, Thursday showers and 20. Right now it's 8. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Join Care Alert's Safety Snippets, safeguarding our seniors, one tip at a time. Brought to you by Mike and Darren.
Mike, let's focus on a critical safety measure, keeping emergency contacts up to date, especially for our seniors.
Yes, absolutely. Look, quick access to help is crucial, especially in emergencies.
How can our seniors ensure their emergency contacts are current?
Well, regularly review and update the list with names, phone numbers and medical information. Print it out in large font and put it by the phone.
Good point, and always have emergency contacts on speed dial for immediate access.
Yep, great advice. And of course, having a Care Alert GPS alert system is the best way to get 24/7 emergency help, and you could have one for free. Visit carealert.com.au for details. That's carealert.com.au.
That's another safety tip brought to you by Care Alert, Australia's #1 personal alert system.
Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture have the latest in office and education furniture all in one showroom. And the Keen staff love furniture. So whilst your colleagues talk politics at the water cooler, the Keen team discuss full office fit-outs and ergonomic chairs. Except last week when Jackie asked Shane if he used to ride a horse to school before the tram came into operation in 1929. Nice one, Jackie. Keen delivers and sets up furniture at schools and workplaces in Glenelg and all over SA. Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture. Leaders in office and education furniture.
Now, it's always good to have a mate with a bus, a van, a truck or a ute, but they rarely have all three, or actually the answer is 3, I'd say 4, bus, van, truck or ute, and they can't promise 5-star service. That's why Avis Truck Rental Adelaide is the best mate you can have.
I was just trying to think, your beach bus actually fits into 3 of those categories, I think. It's a bus, a van and a truck, isn't it?
Yeah.
Essentially.
And it's also a large piece of furniture.
It is.
It's a sand dune on wheels.
Well, if you don't, as lucky as David to have a vehicle at your premises, you have to go to the great people at Avis. They've been SA's go-to vehicle rental company for decades. They've got 12-seaters that are ready to roll. You can drive those with a standard driver's license as well. Perfect for things like a road trip to the footy.
That's right. And here's the thing to know, folks, as loyal 5AA listeners, they'll give you a fixed price up front, so you don't get any nasty surprises when you get home. Just ask for the 5AA fixed price.
With their fleet of vans, buses, utes and trucks, they're sure to help you turn got a problem into not a problem. Avis Truck Rental Adelaide open 7 days at 416 Port Road, West Hindmarsh. Book online at avis.com.au or call 8241 5200.
The Hyundai SUV sale is on now with incredible factory bonuses on Santa Fe and Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes to 8. Jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Watch along. Stacey Lee in the studio with us. Thanks to the great people at Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture, leading the way in office and education furniture right here in South Australia. Morning to you, Stacey.
Good morning. How's this chat about national service?
Yeah, Rishi Sunak. I like your idea that it's backdated.
What sort of hot hell are we living in? What sort of joke is this? Are we kidding?
Rishi's not.
If he wants to introduce it, backdate it to 1963 when the UK got rid of it. So then Rishi Sunak has to do national service.
It feels like a pretty transparent and desperate attempt to shore up some traditional conservative areas with a view to not winning the election, because it's so far, like it's so impossible anyway.
Yeah.
So let's just try and win a couple of...
Well, it's like save the furniture, isn't it?
Totally. It's a save the furniture policy. It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen, and nor should it. Surely we all agree that kids probably need to be taught more respect and get off screens, but if they want to do something like this, why not implement it into school curriculums and get kids out there as a class doing volunteering at local aged care homes,
a few of our listeners have said
homes.
maybe the in the context of the school curriculum. Maybe they're too busy being taught about how disgraceful the history of our country is.
That's
and how the world's about to end.
The worst part about it is, in a policy sense, is it's a policy to have a royal commission to look at bringing back national service.
Yeah, but
there's just no detail whatsoever that exists.
What government hasn't done that? Didn't we have a royal commission into universal childcare for 3-year-olds when we already had universal childcare for 4-year-olds, and it was always going to happen, but we spent $2 million and paid Julia Gillard how many millions of dollars to do it anyway?
Yeah, that's true.
What government doesn't announce an inquiry into doing something, maybe?
That's a very good point, Stacey. We'll have a look at something that might be a good idea. Yeah. It's pretty
I reckon
lukewarm,
the way he's proposed it, and it's just a pity that it's, as we've been saying, like last-minute pre-election scramble to get yourselves off the mat. But if it does involve sort of community service and working in aged care, and also the cyber part of it is interesting.
The cyber part's fascinating.
Because that is, I mean, we sit here every week. There's like a cyber attack in Australia once a week now that's potentially crippling, compromising huge amounts of personal data. That part of it makes sense, I reckon. But yeah, I reckon every single generation since the dawn of time has complained about the younger generation. I think there were people sitting around in caves in northern France, just after we stopped walking around with clubs going, you try getting the kids today out there hunting. They're not interested.
Without a doubt.
And it doesn't gel with most of the kids I see.
No, I'm already annoyed at the generations before me. They took away my skinny jeans. Now they're telling me I can't have my ankle socks because they want to bring back
I had the conversation
high
about
socks.
the high socks back in.
No, I don't want that.
Someone was telling me on the weekend you can spot a millennial because they're the only people with ankle socks.
I'm wearing them right
The young kids are wearing the high socks again. Crew socks, I think is what they call them.
I'm sick of it. Give me my high-waisted jeans. Do you know how hard millennials worked to have the high-waisted jeans above the tummy so you don't have to be skinny? We're hiding the tummy for you.
Now,
Just
Stacey,
take it.
Women can wear what they like, I'm not going to weigh into that whatsoever. All men should be told you have to wear socks. There's nothing stupider than seeing these guys down at Morfettville having their race day with their little
ankle socks,
David Beckham faux hawks, and the ankle socks.
Well,
if you leave in the house,
fashion's moved on. It's not a thing anymore.
The only time you don't wear socks is when you're wearing thongs.
I could not agree more. Not to mention the fact, what about when you get home and you take the shoes off?
No good.
Gross.
Yeah, no good at all.
Gross. Anyway, I did not come here to talk about socks and high-waisted jeans. You will be surprised to know. This week, for the Keen Office Furniture hot seat, I have to put the Lord Mayor, Jane Lomax-Smith, in the seat.
You had a chat with her the other day.
I had her on the show last week, and it was one of the most infuriating interviews I've ever done. The day before, I spoke to Henry Davis, who is a local councillor in Adelaide City Council, and I think even he would admit he likes to poke the bear.
Isn't he that one bloke who proposed a 30% rate increase?
He didn't propose a 30% rate increase. This was during my interview last week. He said the amount of money that Adelaide City Council is spending in their projected budget for the next 12 years, to pay it all off, there would have to be a 30% rate increase. So he wasn't saying we should raise rates by 30%. He was having a go at the amount of money the City Council is spending. Right. And so he identified some extra spending in the budget that he says wasn't justified. And then when he started asking questions about it in the meeting, he was basically kicked out, or was about to be kicked out, so he left. Anyway, I think we all know the council is a bloody shambles. Who cares if he left or if he was about to be kicked out? The crux of the story was there was extra spending in the budget that even the councillors didn't know what it was being spent on. It was an extra $107 million. And when he tried to ask questions about it, they got angry that it wasn't the right time, or he wasn't asking in the correct manner, and they were about to kick him out. I got the Lord Mayor on the next day to ask her what that extra $107 million was. And as I say, it was an extremely infuriating and long interview, but I've summarised the end of it here.
We have got more asset plans and assessments than we had previously. It's a very straightforward accounting problem, but we haven't finalised.
Okay, so I think that's the answer that I've been seeking for the last 10 minutes, Lord Mayor.
Well,
so you're saying there is future borrowing in those papers down the track.
I've told you that they are we haven't finished our long-term financial plan. We do it annually.
But you have projected some of it. Is that correct?
We have projected some of it, but
Yes,
it may
and
not be
that's
our
what-
expenditure.
No, and that's what the extra money is going to at the moment, projected.
In 12 years' time, yes.
Okay, all right. 11 minutes in and we have the answer. Thank you, Lord Mayor. I appreciate that. I wanted to pull my hair out. I don't know why that was so hard, and I can see why councillors in the meeting are talking over each other, and they'd rather sit outside in the naughty corner than sit in those meetings and talk to each other like that.
I don't know any of them do it. Like I've watched some of those meetings online because you can watch them. There's this like clunky little camera in the corner of the room. You can watch it on YouTube.
Little GoPro.
Yeah, and it's just like, my God, there's a whole life to be led away from the confines of that council.
And presumably all individually they have, personal pride. That you must get tired of the fact that every time you go to a party and they say, what do you do? And you go on the city council and the music stops playing like a bar scene in the Old West. Everyone turns around and looks at you. Yeah, the record scratches. So
But that'd be true. Because last week, we did the Burnside Council story where we spoke to one of the ratepayers.
Yeah.
Then we talked about what's going on at Onkaparinga. Sorry, no, that was a week before.
Onkaparinga, driving on the beach. How ridiculous is that?
But then Holdfast Bay and their figures.
The Jetty Road.
You sort of get the sense that the management of so much public money really should not be left to people who are largely enthusiastic amateurs. Which is what they are. People who say, I just wanted to get involved. Like, I could go, I want to get involved. I might run for Unley Council. I'm enumerate. There's no way I should have any say over the expenditure of any money.
It's a degree of self-awareness that not everyone possesses.
I got 33% for maths in year 10, but if I got 25 people in the Wavell area to vote for me, I might be able to get involved. That's terrifying.
I just do not understand how we haven't found a justification for amalgamating some of these councils.
Well, it's lack of political courage.
Use Unley. How are Unley and Burnside separate councils? Or how are
It would be better for
Onkaparinga and
people at Burnside
Bay?
if Unley was their council,
Yeah.
because they're putting rates up by 3%, because
Yeah.
they haven't run the joint into the ground. It's weird that you can have the exact same ratepayer profile. Like the profile of a ratepayer in Marion versus Glenelg is indistinguishable. Like the pattern of the suburbs, the income levels, it's pretty much exactly the same. So how is it that Holdfast Bay is up the creek and Marion's going all right? How is it that Burnside's on the brink of collapse, yet Unley's going really well?
As you speak there, how many marginal seats are there through that area?
Well, a lot.
There's heaps. I reckon it's probably politically it's a really easy scare campaign to run, saying they're going to take away, you can have less government, you can have less. Look, you can run that locally everywhere.
You'll lose your
remember that local
vote.
intersection.
I reckon it would be a vote winner.
I'd like to think so.
We are
but
going
no
to
one
make
wants to
sure
go there.
You only pay one CEO. You only have
Yes.
one bloody HR person that has to deal with the ridiculous complaints that come in.
I think you need more HR councils with the amount of squabbles they have.
I just do not understand. It is 2024 and we have people sitting in a room once a week yelling at each other, and they're adults.
Yeah.
They're adults and they're in charge of people's money.
It's completely outrageous. Lots of support of your interview with Jane Lomax-Smith coming through. Helen, Jane and others, Stacey, saying it was brilliant. They really enjoyed it. It was terrific. So, Jane Lomax-Smith, Keen Office Furniture hot seat this week.
Yeah.
All right.
I have no choice. She's in the Keen Office Furniture hot seat.
I love it. Magnificent work. We'll look forward to catching you this afternoon, Stacey.
Thank you.
All right, let's check traffic. Jump online and get your $2 tickets for the People First Community Lottery. That's today. T's and C's apply. SA Lottery licence number M14521.
Thanks, Will. At Enfield, a crash, Regency Road near Main North Road. At Bridgewater, crash there. Freeway down track near the Kerry Gully Road entry ramp. Breakdown at Regency Park today. South Road near Camera Street. And we've got works tying things up today at Highbury, Lower North East Road near Rogers Street. Cameras this morning, Baines Road, Woodcroft and Hilliard Road at Brunella. Look for the RAA sign. Over 400 independent RAA approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
Or a plumber or an electrician,
All precise. Here's 2 reasons to rush into Formula Honda. 1. Enjoy reduced drive-away prices on select grades for the Honda ZR-V and CR-V only while stocks last. 2. Get a bonus 8 years warranty and 8 years roadside assist on select grades until the end of this financial year. Hurry into Formula Honda while stocks and savings last. Find us at Glen Osmond Road, Glen Osmond or North East Road, Modbury. T's and C's apply.
We all know how dangerous undiagnosed sleep apnea can be on our health. SA's own Respirico Healthcare has been supporting South Australians for 20 years. As well as with no out-of-pocket expense, In-Home Sleep Studies Respirico can now offer a 100-day money-back guarantee on Philips DreamStation CPAP devices. Now there's no excuse for not treating sleep apnea with a risk-free trial at Respirico Healthcare. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
Now let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens.
Oi, that's a cookie jar.
Busted. My mistake. Let's see. Here it is. Here's one from Renette, an interior designer at Buy Urban for over 20 years. Renette swears to ensure your dream bathroom becomes a wonderful reality. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Wouldn't mind a cookie.
The biggest threat to your business isn't your competition. It's cybercrime. Cybercrime threats impacting Australian businesses large and small continues to grow year on year. One call to one solution will put your business in a safe place and save you from the devastating consequences of cybercrime. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Stay safe and protected. Get in touch with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Purchase any Hyundai until June 30 for 3 years free scheduled servicing. T's and C's apply at participating Hyundai dealers.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes to 8. The final days of May means June's just around the corner, and June, of course, means 5AA's Best of SA evening is not too far away, where we celebrate wonderful South Australian brands and businesses and invite you to come along and join us for the Best of SA dinner Friday the 14th of June at Adelaide Oval. If you'd like to get along and win a $100 Foodland voucher and 2 tickets to the Best of SA dinner, get calling right now on 8223 0055 as we celebrate Rundle Blinds.
Today I'm catching up with Ian Waller from Rundle Blinds, and you'll find them on Goodwood Road at Kings Park. Ian, window furnishings are like fashion trends. They're constantly changing.
Yeah, hi Jane. What we're seeing in our industry is a real continued movement towards soft furnishings. The likes of curtains and Roman blinds and the Luxaflex duet shades and pirouette shades are really coming to the forefront. Products like plantation shutters and timber Venetians are really taking a back seat to the soft furnishings.
What I love about some of the new trends that you do have is that you can remote control them from your phone. So maybe if you're out at work or shopping or whatever, and you think, oh, it's a hot day or a cold day, I need to close the curtains or the blinds, you can do it from your phone.
Absolutely. There's 2 new very exciting product releases. One is the Luxaflex PowerView Generation 3 motors, and along with that the Somfy Zigbee Protocol motors, both of which have apps, and you can control your blinds remotely whilst you're either at home or away from the home. And along with that, you can also set scenes so that they automatically come up and down at certain times of the day.
A lot of people don't realise the importance of window furnishings, not just to be decorative, but also for controlling the temperature of your home. I grew up in the country, and as soon as I know it's a hot day, the blinds come down. So they really are important in your comfort level as well.
Absolutely. Something like 40% of all heat comes in through the glass area of a home, and thermally lined curtains can reduce hugely the amount of heat ingress coming in through those windows.
Ian, thank you again for being part of 5AA's Best of SA. We look forward to seeing you and Sam on the gala night, because I know you guys love to party.
Thanks very much, Jane. We'll certainly be there.
Rundle Blinds, curtains and shutters. Drop into the Goodwood Road showroom or visit rundleblinds.com.au. Deborah in Millswood is coming along to Best of SA, and we look forward to seeing you on the night. Deborah?
Here's an interesting message. I come from a military family, and I'm appalled and disgusted with politicians globally pushing conscription. The level of warmongering is astounding. The mainstream media is complicit in pushing this war narrative. If it's not Russia, it's China. It's a non-stop 24/7 fear porn cycle. Absolutely evil. I know what war does. I've seen humans broken by it. Greg says, did anyone know Russia since January this year have been voluntarily enlisting 1,700 men a week? This whole conscription deal is pure evil. There you go, Greg. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
That's not indicative of the overwhelming sentiment is good idea, let's have a proper look at it.
0480801395 Dutton's Hyundai, and discover the all-new hybrid electric Santa Fe family SUV. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with. Jade Robin's out on the road. In fact, she's up at Harndorf this morning. Good morning again, Jade.
Good morning. Yes, I've headed out up the hill this morning after yet another praying on the southeastern freeway. A 3-car pile-up, a good old rear ender, not serious, thank goodness. Now, it happened near the Bridgewater-Harndorf exit city-bound around Carey Gully Road. Now, happened around 6:30. Traffic is still a little slow in the area, but it's still moving slowly. But yet another accident on the freeway, guys. At this time of day, it is absolutely crazy. Last week, there was an accident here on 4 out of the 5 working days during the morning commute. Now, it is a little bit foggy, but there hasn't been any rain to influence drivers or cause any slippery roads. Now, driving up, it was so bright, it was almost burning my retinas, but going down, really no excuse. So is it speed? Is it driver distraction? I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of cars on the road. So is that big, is that causing it? More chance of a crash? Mount Barker's population, as we know, it's absolutely booming. How's this, though? Every year since 2019, the population of Mount Barker has actually grown by 1,200 people. So, look, I get it. I get why you want to move to the hills, ladies and gentlemen, because it is absolutely stunning up here this morning. I am in the main street of Harndorf right now, when my car is telling me that it is 2 degrees outside. There are a lot of people out and about walking with their beanies on and their scarves wrapped around. It's absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, those beautiful big trees along the street, they've dropped all their leaves, but nothing but blue skies up here. No sign of rain at all. And we do know it's been a very dry start to these colder months so far. Harndorf today is going for a top of 21 and 23 in Adelaide today. Perfect day to kickstart the AFL Sapsaza at West Beach today. Good luck to those hundreds of kids, all those schools participating today. Rain is expected later in the week, with Harndorf set to receive between 3 and 10 mils on Thursday and up to 7 mils on Friday. Hopefully it reaches our farmers though.
Yeah, well, the good news was when we caught up with the Weather Bureau earlier, Jenny Horvat told us that it will be, the forecast at the moment is that it will be statewide rain, which will be music to the ears of people working on the land in rural SA.
I tell you, it's always worth jumping on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream when Jade comes up, because she always provides live pictures of where she's at, and geez, Harndorf looked beautiful this time. And when you said it last week, the hills make perfect sense at this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
They just look magnificent when it's cold and winter starts to descend on Adelaide. The hills are magnificent.
Yeah, I love that drive on Old Montague Road, the back way, when you go up the back behind McGill and you pop out in Summertown and then go up through your Radler and then you can go over to Crafers or whatever way you want to go to come back. But it's just beautiful at this time of year, and little berry farms tucked away off the side of the road.
5AA News is coming up, breaking 8 in a moment. And in the next hour on the program, stay listening. If you hear a random Matildas highlight play, it means first caller through will win tickets to the Matildas play, sold out Adelaide Oval Friday night, 8223 0055. Have it plugged in. You hear a Matildas highlight and be the first caller through.
Series Music is making history with Adelaide's biggest ever music sale. Well over $1 million worth of gear has been priced to clear. Get up to 60% off drums, up to 30% off electric guitars, bass guitars, amps and accessories, with discounts on keyboards, brass and woodwind, PA systems and more. Series Music is so serious about clearing the entire store, with over $1 million worth of gear priced to clear. In store only right now. This is a once only opportunity. Series Music, 41 1 McGill Road, Stepney.
G'day everyone, Cornsey here. Now I know a great team when I see one, and the South Australian hydraulic team I rate the highest is BL Shipway. The Shipway team are the best in the business. They've been looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953 with brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Enerpac, Hydac, Oilpath, EasyFit and many more. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
A handful of passengers on board a flight from Doha to Dublin have been injured when the aircraft encountered severe turbulence. The Qatar Airways plane struck trouble while flying over Turkey. It was met by emergency services when landing. Cheryl was on board the flight. She says it was a terrifying experience.
I've settled down now, but it was quite scary. The plane just seemed to go stop, which it didn't, but then dropped, quite a severe drop. There was a couple of passengers that didn't have seatbelts on, so they were thrown in front of us. They were thrown out of their seats and hit their head.
The incident occurred just 5 days after dozens of people were injured in a Singapore Airlines flight from London when it encountered severe turbulence. The state government has no plans to follow Queensland's lead to drop public transport fares. Queensland is beginning a 6-month trial aimed at easing cost of living pressure and reducing traffic congestion. SA commuters pay the highest fares nationally for short-distance trips, and there's a 15% hike coming up in August. The state government says prices would be looked at when trains and trams come under government control in July. Patients are being reassured they won't be left without medication despite more than 400 products being deemed in short supply. Ritalin, which is used to treat ADHD, and a common UTI antibiotic are among those affected. But medical expert Dr. Nick Coatsworth has told Today there are other options.
This happens almost constantly, that we have around about 400 medications on the shortage list, and people can usually go out and get generic types of drugs or the same drug in a different formulation. So it's not quite as bad as we're led to believe, but it is a big issue.
A vacant house went up in flames at Enfield this morning. The blaze broke out in Park Terrace just before 4:30, spreading to a neighbour's van parked next door. It's being treated as suspicious. Support for keeping the 26th of January as Australia Day appears to be slipping. A new survey from the University of South Australia reveals 67% of respondents don't mind when the day falls, down from 70% in the previous survey. Today, Reconciliation Day was the most popular alternative date. Lead researcher Eliza Mortimer-Royal says while it's still a subject of contention, change looks to be stirring.
I think it's still open to debate as to what would be the best move to make. It's just suggesting primarily that a change seems to be more favourable now than ever.
UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is promising to bring back national service for residents if he wins the election. Unlike conscription, which legally requires residents to join the army, the proposed scheme would make it mandatory for young people to complete a community program for 12 months or a year-long military training scheme. And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide has kept itself in touch with the top 8 following an emphatic 99-point win against West Coast at home. Gun midfielder Jake Saligo was subbed out of the game at half-time, but there are no injury concerns, with coach Matthew Nicks confirming it was more about management.
There was a plan coming in if things were going well. We had Sam Berry ready to go, and we know what Sam Berry brings, especially, after a half of football when he can come in fresh. So that played out really well for us today.
The Crows will recover today and will now look ahead to Saturday's big clash against Hawthorn at the MCG. The Hawks are fresh off an impressive 25-point upset win against Brisbane at Marvel Stadium. And there was one other game yesterday to wrap up the round, with Melbourne too good for St Kilda, winning by 38 points. Let's get to motorsport. Charles Leclerc has closed the gap on Max Verstappen at the top of the Formula One standings after taking out his home Grand Prix in Monaco ahead of Oscar Piastri, who had his first podium of the year. Fellow Aussie Daniel Ricciardo was 12th, while Lando Norris rounded out the podium in third place. To tennis, it's been a bad start for the Aussies at the French Open, with Jordan Thompson, Alexander Vukic and Ajla Tomljanovic all losing. But Carlos Alcaraz cruised through following a straight sets win. To golf, an American Davis Riley has taken out the Charles Schwab Challenge in Texas, cruising to a 5-shot win, the 27-year-old finishing with a par on the 18th.
Welcome to the Wall of Champions. Resolute right down to an up and down sand save and a par to finish it.
Audio there thanks to Fox. And in some soccer to finish, Southampton has won its playoff match 1-0 against Leeds, which means they'll play in the English Premier League next season. They'll join Leicester and Ipswich, who have also been promoted into the top flight. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Enfield, got a crash to look out for today. Regency Road near Main North Road. Really big delays in all directions there. Got residual delays clearing after an LA crash on the freeway at Bridgewater near Kerry Gullies Road ramp. And a breakdown to look out for at Regency Park, South Road near Kimura Street. Cameras this morning, Hillier Road, Ranella and Baines Road at Woodcroft. Take off with Flight Centre's Big Red Sale and fly Adelaide to Bali with quotas from just $669 per person. Return. Sale ends May 28. Book now at Flight Centre. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny and 22 today. Tomorrow, sunny 23. Wednesday, mostly sunny 23. Then a break in the weather. Thursday, showers and 20. Right now, it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Electricity bill!
Bills shouldn't be scary. EcoVantage have supplied energy efficiency in homes for over 15 years. They can install hot water systems that use up to 80% less electricity than regular hot water systems. Help the environment while you save hundreds. And thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you could get your energy efficient hot water system supplied and installed for as little as no cost to you. Stop scary hot water bills with ecovantage.com.au.
Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture have the latest in office and education furniture all in one showroom. And the Keen staff love furniture. So whilst your colleagues talk politics at the water cooler, the Keen team discuss full office fit-outs and ergonomic chairs. Except last week when Shane told the team the scratches on his face were from a koala he tried feeding whilst picnicking in the Adelaide Hills. Thanks, Shane. Keen delivers and sets up furniture at schools and workplaces in Mount Barker and all over SA. Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture. Leaders in office and education furniture.
Built like a brick house. Basic Trailers are your best mate for any load. Use the code 5AA to pay only $1 for rego on purchase of your new trailer. True blue deal at Paraka. Basic Trailers. Basically, better.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Purchase any Hyundai until June 30 for 3 years free scheduled servicing. T's and C's apply at participating Hyundai dealers.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8, we've got Matilda's tickets we're giving away this hour. Someone is getting to see the game Friday night, Adelaide Oval, on us. We'll announce that before 9 o'clock today. Looking forward to...
Hottest tickets in town.
They are.
Sold out in record time.
Sold out, absolutely.
I'm not going to be able to go now. I'm having a dental operation on Friday.
Oh, no.
I've got the tickets myself. We had GA tickets to go and stand there on the hill, and I'm going to be at home drinking custard through a straw.
Oh, that is absolutely miserable. Sorry to hear that. Well, one of our listeners will be getting to go along today on us. We're off to KI this hour as well. We're checking with Jade Rodman again very, very shortly. Got some fuel information for you as well. First, before breaking at 8, Dean in Flinders Park's call in on something happening out in our roads. Dean, what have you seen?
Yeah, good morning, fellas. At the intersection of Bindon and Grange Road, where the Caltech service station is, the lanes city-bound are blocked. Someone, I'm sorry to say, ran a red light.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, well, put it this way. It was yellow going to red, and the other one didn't anticipate it coming towards him. The guy was turning right on the Findon Road, and the guy coming down Grange Road, between the two of them, blocked the road.
Oh, no.
Oh, thank you for that, Dean.
Hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, we'll await more information on that one. It's time for breaking at 8.
Well, the state opposition has seized on new data showing what they describe as the extraordinarily high cost of hydrogen power. It's contained in the 2023-24 Gen Cost report, showing that hydrogen is far and away the most expensive form of energy. Now, we're going to talk to David Spears because the opposition's doing two things with this. Firstly, raising concerns over the Malinowskis government's experimental push to generate hydrogen power. Huge amount of money and time being invested in that. But also, interestingly, when you consider that the federal leader, Peter Dutton, is close to announcing up to 7 electorates, which he thinks could be the home of nuclear reactors, the opposition is much more unabashedly coming out and saying that we need to have a similarly mature conversation here in South Australia about whether we go down the nuclear fuel generation path here. David Spears is on the line now. Opposition leader, good morning and great to have you on. So just in terms of the cost issue for hydrogen, what would you make of the government's response would be, well, look, we know that we can't get to where we need to yet purely through wind and solar. If we can add hydrogen to the mix, surely that's a good thing.
They say that, and my point would be this is experimental. And I don't want to talk South Australia down. We've done lots of pioneering things in our time as a state, but if this was a good idea in terms of stability and cost effectiveness in the energy system, somewhere else in the world would be doing it. The private sector would be doing it, or another country or state somewhere in the world would be doing it. No one else is doing it. And I don't think hundreds of millions of taxpayers' money, and it could end up billions because this is so uncertain, I don't believe that should be channeled towards an experimental hydrogen plant that will not reduce South Australian power bills by $1. The Premier himself has admitted that. This hydrogen thing is just a frolic, and there are much better ways that we could be driving down energy prices for South Australian households and businesses in the long term, and experimenting with hundreds of millions of taxpayers' money just isn't one of them.
So, I mean, the next election's less than 2 years away. So, if you guys were elected, would you stop the hydrogen project immediately and say we're going to shift all of our attention over to nuclear instead?
Well, the government says it'll be finished by then. I'm starting not to believe that because that project looks like it's in some trouble, and obviously, and very sadly, there's a lot of trouble around FIVEAA at the moment where that project's cited in terms of the situation with the steelworks. If that project was in a situation where it could be put on hold and not see huge amounts of money wasted, we would certainly look at that, because we think we should be looking at other ways to do this well, and that includes small-scale nuclear reactors, which, of course, you mentioned Peter Dutton and I have been focused on in recent years.
My understanding, David Spears, is that the 7 electorates that the federal coalition is looking at, none of them are in South Australia. Do you think that the opposition leader should widen his gaze and consider SA, or is it something where you, as potentially Premier of South Australia, would lead a charge to pick a spot in SA and say this is where we think we need a reactor here in South Australia?
Well, a huge amount of work is being done to make sure that the initial announcement is right, geographically, financially, feeding it into the right parts of the grid around the nation, because, of course, we've got a national energy network, and so we want the best decisions in the first instance for the stability and cost effectiveness of the grid. But I do think there could be opportunity in the future, and I've always said I'm not the expert on this, and that's why I'm urging the government to join me to have a parliamentary investigation into what this could look like, because we need all options on the table, and I think a country that digs up huge amounts of uranium and ships it off over the world, a state that's going to be the centrepiece of a nuclear-powered submarine industry, why we shouldn't look at a civil energy industry is completely beyond me. It's hypocrisy, really. And I just think we need to have a mature discussion about it and say, what are the options? Instead of just pushing it off the table and replacing it with a far more experimental and unknown form of energy, and that's hydrogen, which unfortunately, as usual, Labour seem to be about to spend lots of your money on a big experiment to make themselves feel good.
David Spears, what's your level of enthusiasm for engaging in the entirety of the nuclear fuel cycle then? We dig it up, we're going to use it in submarines, potentially in energy. The Royal Commission that looked at the nuclear fuel cycle in South Australia made a pretty compelling economic case for storage here in SA. Is that something we should look at again?
I think we should look at the whole nuclear fuel cycle, absolutely. That Royal Commission was some 7-8 years ago since it handed down its report, and in the situation of these sorts of technologies, that is a lifetime ago. I made a speech about nearly a year ago now saying that I think we should have a Royal Commission 2.0. It doesn't need to be exactly like that, but we should reopen that conversation. We had that disastrous situation up at Kimber where we were looking at low-level nuclear storage facility there, and that was thrown out in the most ridiculous circumstances, shattering the town of Kimber's confidence in the process. We need to have a storage site in this nation. We'll need it for the nuclear submarine waste. So we're hearing all this talk about AUKUS and all this talk about nuclear submarines from Labour, and which I support, but we will need a storage facility in this nation for that. So again, we get caught up in this not in my backyard thing, but at some point it's going to have to be in someone's backyard, and that backyard will make a huge amount of money and sustain that community into the future. We need to have that conversation, and I certainly think that Kimber conversation should be reopened.
David Spears, the opposition leader there, joining us this morning for Breaking at 8. Big thanks to Deb in Edwardstown. She sent through some photographs of the bulldozed remains of the Tonsley Hotel. Tell you what, that pub did some of the best.
Yeah, that would have been close to your local back in the day.
It was my local.
Yeah,
it was the back in the days when you could write your date of birth on your STA bus card. That was a great system for the callow 17-year-olds who needed to get their hands on a 6-pack of West Coast Cooler, heading along to a party in their SAFM jackets in about 1984, but it's all gone. It's no more. The Tonsley Hotel, McMahon's, come and have a good time. So many memories. The Chrysler bar, the front bar there with the beautiful Art Deco typeface inspired by the car maker, of course.
Bulldozing happens bracingly fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't take long, and it's just
That'd be
an
a fun
empty patch
job.
of dirt.
Any of our listeners bulldoze stuff?
Yeah.
Knocking down houses.
In demolition.
Knocking down houses is quite the growth industry in South Australia, isn't it?
Pretty building them, isn't?
Well, you knock one down, you put four up these days.
That's the idea.
Who's the biggest knocker-downer of houses in Adelaide? Is it Royal Park Salvage? You see those massive trucks getting around? Are they
great. We've hired stuff from there as well.
But imagine like just going to work and you go, what do you do today? I'm just going to drive a bulldozer really fast into something.
It's like it must be satisfying.
Yeah, it'd be great fun.
Yeah, be therapeutic, I reckon.
Anyone bulldozing anything today? So give us a call. What are you bulldozing?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
How'd you get into the knocking stuff down, Caper?
There's a new campaign today, a $40 million consent campaign that's being launched by the federal government, teaching youth about sex, consent, relationships and violence.
How do I know if there's consent? Is a kiss consent to more? What if I'm not sure?
What if I said yes earlier?
The video ad asks viewers, if we don't know the answers, how will our kids? So it's directed at adults. The campaign directs Australians to a new website with then questions and answers and so forth. The stats are harrowing. In Australia, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men report experiencing sexual violence since the age of 15. Have a listen to David Littleproud talking about the ad.
This is a real opportunity, and I think good on the government for doing it, but let's have the courage to pivot if we haven't got it right, but understand it's not just the government's role, it's everybody's role. Whether they're your kids or anyone else, if you hear something out, you've got to call it out. The standard you walk past is the one you accept.
So expect to see that on your television screens from today.
Talking about, so there's a website that you can look at, is there? I think the backdrop to this story, I think, is all the other websites out there.
Yeah.
You know, you cast your mind back to, when I was a kid, if you got your hands on a Playboy magazine, you felt like you'd won lotto. Accessing any and it wasn't even graphic imagery of women, was a very difficult thing to do.
Not anymore.
No. You can see it without even looking for it. You know, it's just... And that has to be linked. It has to be the major link, I would think, to guys getting all sorts of warped ideas about what women are into and how you can behave with women.
Yeah, on the consent question.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's different from, like, you know... And how fast has the world changed from, like, you know, that first front page of a Playboy was Marilyn Monroe jumping in the air with her hands over her chest. But you couldn't actually really see anything. And now, my God, it's just... It's a real concern.
20 after 8, we're going to check traffic and come back with more in just a moment. Might check in and see where Jade Robrin's at. Jump online and get your $2 tickets for the People First Community Lottery today. T's and C's apply. SA Lottery licence number M14521.
Thanks, Will. Residual delays clearing after an early smash at Enfield, Regency Road near Main North Road. Still got a crash causing a few delays at Bridgewater. They are clearing as well, though, so that's good. Freeway downtrend to the Curry Gully Road entry ramp and a breakdown slowing things up at Regency Park, South Road near Camera Street. Cameras this morning, Elizabeth Road, Morford Vale and Baines Road at Woodcroft. GWM's end of financial year with more sale is on. Get up to $4,000 off selected models. Stocks are limited. GWM. Go with more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Andrew Ireland was the architect, if you like, of the brainchild of the Northern Academies. Andrew Ireland now is an AFL commissioner, so good luck unscrambling that egg. And just have a look at our AFL commissioners and see who they represent. Now, what we need here is a stronger voice in South Australia, and for that matter, WA.
The 5AA Sports Show.
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Just weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
You've already heard. There's 2 grand prizes and 2 grand prize winners in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. But did you know there are more than 11,000 prizes, giving you a 1 in 15 chance to win? Even better, get your tickets by Friday and you could win one of 3 early bird prizes worth $100,000. Only 4 days remain. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. Homelottery.com.au.
Licence in 14548.
Hi, supercar driver Dave Reynolds here for our mates at Toyota Forklifts. Order any new electric forklift from Toyota's massive range of walkie stackers, reach and counterbalance forklifts and go into the draw to win the ultimate supercars experience for you and 3 mates. Win 4 VIP tickets to a supercars event, accommodation, flights, hospitality, merch and more. For more details, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
T's and C's apply. Offer ends July 31st.
Now, I'm sure everybody knows what a swear jar is. In some homes, it's fuller than others. But here's a swear jar that is full of nothing but goodness. It's the swear jar at Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens, full of pledges and promises from the whole team at Biourban of things that they swear to do for you.
Here's one that was sent to us straight from the Biourban swear jar from Laura, the in-house interior designer. Laura does a wonderful job. She's extremely talented, swears to work closely with you to bring your ideas to life and help give you all the inspiration you need when designing your new Biourban bathroom.
And here's one from David Cox himself. David swears to be available to work through any issues should they arise and to deliver a positive outcome.
For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
We all know how dangerous undiagnosed sleep apnea can be on our health. SA's own Respirico Healthcare has been supporting South Australians for 20 years. As well as with no out-of-pocket expense, In-Home Sleep Studies Respirico can now offer a 100-day money-back guarantee on Philips DreamStation CPAP devices. Now there's no excuse for not treating sleep apnea with a risk-free trial at Respirico Healthcare. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
The Hyundai SUV sale is on now with incredible factory bonuses on Santa Fe and Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 8, Russ and Lockleys has called into the program. Morning to you, Russ.
Good morning, chaps. How are we?
Good, thanks, Russ.
That's the way. Yeah, I used to drive trucks for a Wool Park years ago, and they actually get people to go through the houses first and strip it. Most of the copper and stuff, and if it's asbestos, they've got to remove all that. And then after they do all that, the excavator actually does it bit by bit and remove. They sort of load bricks in one load and concrete and all the timber. They try to keep it all separate in the middle and then all that sort of stuff. But they do a pretty good job.
We got a bit of a rotten line there, Russ, but we got your point, and it's one that was echoed by a couple of people texting, including Rob, who said, depending on the age of the house being demoed, you have to do it carefully, as the old bricks and timber can be resold for a pretty penny. There would be a lot of good stuff in there that can be used again, which was Russ's point.
Yeah. Jade Roberin's been up in the hills this morning, and a short time ago she caught up with the good people at Adelaide Hills Garden Supplies.
I'm here with Acacia, the wood guru from the Adelaide Hills Garden Centre. It's so cold here, there's ice on the wood.
Yeah, it's fresh today.
Does that happen often?
Yeah, coming this time because it's just dry and freezing in the mornings, and we're in Verdun, the little valley.
So let's talk wood, because you have looked like you've got a gluttony of wood here, which is a fantastic sign heading into winter.
Yes, yeah, no, it's a good load here. We usually have a little bit more, but it's been so cold, so we've been getting hit hard. But there's always wood coming in. So,
what are the prices like? Have you been hit by inflation like everything else has been?
Yeah, everything keeps going up. We've been able to hold our price that I think we finished off last year. So it's not super bad yet, but we're still waiting for the hit to hit again.
So how much are we paying? Do you buy it by the tonne? How are you purchasing it? I can't talk. My lips are so cold.
Your fingers must be freezing. You can buy it however you want. So we sell it at tonne price, but you can pick up bootloads. You can bring a bag, fill it up. We've got a weighbridge, so it makes it easy. You can get however much you need delivered, tonnes, however much you want.
Tell me about these little eco-loggies. They're very cute. They look like little sawn-off legs off a table.
They do, yeah. They are compressed sawdust, so it's all recycled sawdust. Really good for if you can't light a fire because it's compressed, so it lights instantly, being sawdust, and then smoulders for ages, so easy to get the fire going.
How do you start the perfect fire in the house? What do you start with? Kindling, then?
I start with paper, or firelighters, then kindling, and then I like to get all the little bits of firewood that we've got. So we sell them in bags of wood chips, chuck those on, and then just as it gets going, get bigger and bigger with your logs.
Sensational, thank you.
Good tips, good very interesting.
How apt too that someone working in the timber industry is called Acacia.
Yeah, exactly right. Speaking of good tips, Paul McGill says this on the issue of demolition. He says when a demolisher is contracted to demolish and remove, they have full control of the site and they take a quasi-ownership of the rubble. And that includes any discovered old biscuit tin hidden under the floorboards full of cash. So always include a clause that any discovered valuables are to be shared 50-50 between the landowner and the person doing the demolition. Otherwise, they get the lot.
Seriously?
It's a good little tip.
Like flotsam and jetsam.
Yeah, good little tidbit from Paul. Thank you for that. 5AA News is coming up. We're off to KI next.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Did you know that you might be eligible for a rebate on a new appliance like a dryer or fridge? You might even qualify for a purchase you've already made. Just visit the Yes website for a list of appliances and the size of the cashback available. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from your energy saving solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's YESS.net.au.
At VinaCare, we help people living with disability. And we do things differently. Not to make it easy for us, but to make it easy for the people we care for. We're not driven by profits or politics. We're driven by the people we support. That's all that matters. Community access, in-home support, support coordination with NDIS, and independent living. vinacare.com.au. Different in the best way.
The 5AA studios are like a playground, just a really messy one. Fortunately, Corporate Clean ensures they're always ready for another day of play. 5AA, one of over 200 businesses they clean throughout South Australia.
And look, these people are miracle workers. I've seen them in action here, and it's stunning. An unclean workplace leads to more absences, less productivity. Studies on bacteria have revealed how manky desktops can be. Well, not in offices cleaned by Corporate Clean. They don't cut corners, they clean them.
Well, before Corporate Clean came in, Nicola Spurrier said well, I'm shutting this thing down.
Yeah, yeah. What is this?
This is you're growing the next danger. The next pandemic's going to grow in this studio.
The Tempe tip.
Corporate Clean, a locally owned business with over 30 years of experience cleaning all types of office settings. There's no one better suited for the job. If you want a free quote and assessment, simply go to corporateclean.com.au.
We asked Sarah what impact her See Differently guide dog has had on her life.
Sid has changed my life completely in the best way possible.
You can help us to help more people like Sarah by making a tax-deductible donation to our guide dog program this end of financial year.
If you choose to donate, you're helping somebody become more independent.
Go to seedifferently.org.au to donate and change a life today.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. PhysioExtra.com.
Australians have been caught up in another mid-air emergency as a flight from Doha to Dublin encountered severe turbulence. Passengers were thrown around the cabin of the Qatar Airways plane. 12 people were injured. Cheryl was on board. She says luckily no one was seriously hurt.
There was a couple of passengers that didn't have seatbelts on. In front of us, they were thrown out of their seats and hit their head. A number of the staff had severe injuries. One had a splint on a hand. They all had some sort of injury to their hands. One had looked like she might have had a twisted ankle.
The incident has occurred less than a week after dozens of passengers were injured on a flight from London to Singapore. More Australians have arrived home after being stranded during unrest in New Caledonia. 2 more repatriation flights landed in Brisbane over the weekend. Other citizens are still waiting to get home from the French Pacific Island. Dr. Max Winchester says he's grateful to be back home.
I slept all day yesterday. I was just so exhausted from not sleeping for 2 weeks and feeling sick as well because of the stress release. But yeah, it feels pretty good.
A landslide in Papua New Guinea is believed to have killed more than 670 people. The UN Migration Agency estimates hundreds are buried as rescue efforts continue. A car caught fire after crashing into a tree at Woodville West earlier this morning. A witness in Toddville Street saw the driver run off as the fire took hold. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says the car was destroyed.
Police attended the registered owner's address, which was only a couple of streets away, and spoke to the 28-year-old Woodville West man who recorded a blood alcohol reading of .093. He's lost his licence on the spot for 6 months. His car's gone up in flames and he'll appear in court at a later date.
A vacant house went up in flames at Enfield this morning. The blaze broke out in Park Terrace just before 4:30, spreading to a neighbour's van parked next door. It's being treated as suspicious. Rental inflation is tipped to reach its highest point since the global financial crisis. Investment group Jarden believes current price growth will see rents remain high until 2026, with inflation reaching 10% this year. Migration and low rental vacancy rates are the biggest factors pushing up rental costs. Well, after a beautiful weekend and sunny day start to the week, the end is in sight for the long dry spell. Up to 15 mils is forecast for Thursday, and Jenny Horvat from the Bureau says showers will continue for a couple of days.
Best chance to see some rain for a very long time here in the city and actually statewide. The showers continuing on Friday in that westerly flow following that change. Maybe a shower or two lingering on Saturday, but really starting to dry up during the afternoon.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Time for sport. Tommy, Crows back on the winners list.
Yeah, it was good to see, wasn't it, Graham? An emphatic performance as well. They've jumped up to 12th as a result following that dominant 99-point victory against West Coast last night. Incredibly, they had 13 goal kickers as they recorded their 4th win of the season. Meantime, St Kilda's season, well, that's in disarray, scoring less than 70 points for the 7th time this season. That was during yesterday's loss to Melbourne. Coach Ross Lyon trying his best to stay positive.
Look, we're in a lot of close games. We didn't get it done. You know, now we're not playing great footy. So when this comes, you've got to work your way through it.
And there was one other game yesterday with Hawthorn upsetting Brisbane by 25 points at Marvel Stadium. Let's get to cricket. The Kolkata Knight Riders have won their third IPL title after a crushing 8-wicket win against Travis Head and Pat Cummins' Sunrisers Hyderabad. The Knight Riders lost the toss and bowled first. Mitchell Starc, brilliant with the ball, taking 2 for 14 off 3 overs in a man-of-the-match performance to help restrict the Sunrisers to only 113. And the Knight Riders chased it down with a whopping 63 balls to spare, losing captain Pat Cummins, full of praise for Starc and his side.
I thought they bowled fantastically. Fortunately, old mate Starkey turned it on again. So, yeah, obviously not enough tonight. Totally outplayed.
To soccer, and Southampton has won the final spot in the English Premier League for next season after winning a championship playoff match against Leeds in front of a packed Wembley Stadium. The only goal of the game coming midway through the first half.
Smallbone stinks it through. Armstrong's onside by the look of it and puts it in the net. And Southampton have the lead. It's a great ball into Armstrong's run, and it's a brilliant, brilliant finish.
And in some motorsport to finish, Charles Leclerc has won the Monaco Grand Prix ahead of Aussie Oscar Piastri, who came second. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there at Bridgewater. Residual delays clearing after an earlier crash on the freeway down track near the Kerry Gully Road entry ramp. Regency Park, a breakdown on South Road near Camera Street, and a smash at Flinders Park to look out for Grange Road at Findon Road. Busy at the moment, South Road at Glandore for works with a camera, Cottage Lane at Hackham. Skip the car lane traffic, apply online with CommBank. Get a response in just 60 seconds. Search CommBank Car Loans. Credit approval, lending criteria and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
22 and sunny today. Tomorrow sunny 23. Wednesday mostly sunny 23. Then the showers. Thursday showers and 20 degrees. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Purchase any Hyundai until June 30 for 3 years free scheduled servicing. T's and C's apply at participating Hyundai dealers.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 9. Just had a long chat with Luce. Just took a call from upstairs. We've been in a little bit of trouble about this Matildas competition. So, turns out, not giving away the tickets by 9 o'clock. Someone's going in the running to win the tickets at 9 o'clock this morning. Okay, we should just tidy up the language ever so slightly, lest we all get fired.
Tell you what.
So sorry about that. Stay
well,
listening.
I have no involvement with any of the
Lucky for you this
here,
time.
so I'm in the clear.
Lucky for you this time round. Culpable deniability.
That's right.
By 9 o'clock, we will be putting someone in the running to win those tickets. Every day this week, people in the running to win tickets to the sold-out Matildas game. Just listen out for that Matildas highlight that we're going to play sometime in the next 20 minutes. First caller through, and you've got a 1 in 5 chance of getting along on the night.
Talking about the parlour state of the back lawn, well, it's hardly a life and death issue. It's not like those of us in the burbs need to rely on our lawns for our income. Different if you are a person living on the land. And on KI at the moment, it's not just the lack of rain, but there's some real issues where anxious farmers are currently unable to get the grain and the hay that they need due to the one Sea-Link ferry that's capable of transporting hay being out of action for maintenance. Michael Pengelly is the Mayor of KI, and he joins us now. Michael, good morning. Always great to chat. This must be, on top of the rain, this must be a huge source of stress for farmers on the island.
Yeah, good morning, boys. Good morning to your listeners. So, look, it's pretty trying times, I've got to say, but it's not only the farming community that's had trouble getting on the boat. The local community generally have had a fair bit of trouble. So the weather's been pretty abysmal across South Australia, I've got to say, and that's sort of made feed sources short as well. Carriers from here or wherever it's coming from have to go further to get it. I think they're going to Port Giles to get grain at the moment down the bottom end of York Peninsula. So it is serious. A little bit of promise later this week for some rain. But I guess the point I'd make is that even if we get good opening rains this week, if it happens, I dusted off the rain chart this morning, actually, it will be weeks before we get the amount of feed. The ground's got cold, the days are shorter. So it's part of the joys of being farmers, I guess. But, it's causing a lot of mental anxiety, a lot of worry for people. A lot of people who were burnt out in the fires a few years ago are now facing this feed shortage. But But we've been putting pressure on Sealink for some time, and it's not entirely their fault. One of their boats has to go off for maintenance in May, as per normal, and another one goes off in July. But the slipway at Port Adelaide that they can use is being refurbed, so that's unavailable, and the slipway at Port Lincoln is chock-a-block full of boats. So it's been a bit of a, bugger's muddle, to be perfectly honest. This year, it's not a happy time for a lot of farmers. And one of the good things is, I think, people going to footy and netball and whatnot on Saturdays are actually getting away from the farm for a few hours, talking to one another and having a beer and, watching a bit of footy. That's very good for between the ears.
So, Michael, when have they given any ETA, or when they expect the ferry services to be back and running as per normal then?
Yes, next week, the 1st of June, both ferries will be back on for the month.
But the other one needs to go off in June, you said, for maintenance as well.
It goes off generally around July, just around the time after the school holidays, and that's a longer slippage. So they've just had the sea line off, but they've put 2 new motors in that, I believe. They actually had to do that alongside the wharf at Cape Jervis because there's no slipway available.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So, that's our lifeline. It's an essential service. I've been working with government agencies, DIT, PIRSA, people like that, working with AgKI. We've just been pushing and shoving as much as possible. So, look, we're getting there, and as I said, Sealing have put more services on. If it means they put more services on for trailers, for semis, that also means that you can get cars down the wings of the ship, which means more people can go back and forward, people for medical appointments, all that sort of thing. So you can't just jump in your car here and drive to wherever. It just doesn't work that way. We've got to have the boat. Tourism traffic is down this time of year, but there's still plenty of local movement.
While we're chatting, Michael, what's your understanding of? Has there been any movement on this Glenelg to KI plan?
Oh, look, that surfaces every year or so.
Yeah, I know.
Goes up. I haven't heard anything lately. It really needs someone to step up and fund it, and it's private enterprise. I don't know whether it'll happen or not. We've had several attempts at it. Several boats have come and gone over the years. We haven't had one now for a fair while. Kingscote Jetty has been upgraded. What would really make a difference, I guess, is to have a marina in or around Kingscote somewhere where they could moor, where they could tie up when they came across. You can get pretty sloppy in Kingscote, and in the past, fast ferries that have come in haven't been able to get in sometimes. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, and the ferry service we've got now, regardless of the interruptions and hiccups and everything else, it's the best service the island's ever had between Penishore and Cape Jervis. The 2 new boats next year will change things again, I guess, assuming that they're up and running and the harbour works are done on both sides. So, boats are our lifeline. No one can afford to fly on the airline. Qantas come in once or twice a day, but it's horrendously expensive, and that makes it really, really difficult. You hardly see a local flying out at the airport or coming back. They just simply can't afford it.
Yeah, no, absolutely unique. It's a unique way of living, certainly over there. Good on you, Michael. Michael Pengilly, the Mayor of Kangaroo Island.
Bugger's muddle for those playing at home, colloquial military term for a disorderly group of people.
Okay.
So, according to Google, at very least.
Yeah, right. I was about to hit the Urban Dictionary. I wasn't sure what that was.
No, I wouldn't hit the Urban Dictionary version if I were you. It would be an occupational hazard. Let's have a look at the fuel watch situation. Members save on RAA Solar in Quiet today. RAA Innovation, SA Building licence number 319335. Our first of the week with fuel all over the place over the course of the last week, certainly. Today and this week, it starts low. The United Torrens Road, Pennington, $1.69.5. The ex-convenience Brighton Road, North Brighton, also $1.69.5. We'll do the treble because the Ampol North East Road, Holden Hill, you can also get it under $1.70, $1.69.5. Diesel's been locked in that mid-$1.80 range. This towards the bottom end of the measure, though. Ex-convenience Main North Road, Jeps Cross, is at $1.83.5. If you are over on KI like Michael Pengilly right now, it's over $2 a litre on the island.
Big shout out to Terry and Henley Beach. You're a funny guy, Terry. We love your texts. And also, if anyone needs their... We're just taking it one day at a time, Terry. If anyone needs their car detailed today and wants to help out someone who's found themselves unemployed, Tyson's your man, and we can put you in touch with Tyson. He's one of our beloved listeners. He's not working at the moment, but he's a talented car detailer. So if anyone needs
bit of work
their
done,
car done up, we can put you in touch with Tyson.
Yep. Call in 8223 0000. Sam and Lucy will sort that out for you. We're going to check traffic. Come back, chat with Sue Dewing. This was an extraordinary situation that played out at the Sturt Football Club late last week, where at training, players were threatened. There was reports that may have been a knife involved. A group that was hounding the training session that was going on came back the next day, and the entire club was riddled with graffiti. Just everywhere. The new development there, the stand.
They had to get a police
awful.
escort to get the girls, the SANFLW players, back to their cars. And when the rat bags who were doing it were confronted, a knife was pulled on one of the club officials. Unbelievable.
It is an extraordinary situation, so we're going to check in with Sue Dewing from the Sturt Football Club in just a moment. Traffic first, jump online and get your $2 tickets for the People First Community Lottery. That's today. T's and C's apply. SA Lottery licence number M14521.
Thanks, Will. At Regency Park, a breakdown on South Road near Camera Street. At Flinders Park, a smash and Grange Road at Findon Road. Hewitt got a crash, Main North Road to the Sturt Highway interchange, and we're busy at Bolivar for works. North-south motorway near the Bolivar interchange, speeds at 60. Cameras today, Cottage Lane, Hackham and Flaxmill Road at Morford Vale. Is it time to level up your business? For a limited time, ABN holders can access national fleet pricing on Renault Traffic Van. T's and C's apply. Drive away today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Don't miss your chance to grab a run-out deal at Formula Honda. Enjoy run-out prices on the Honda HR-V while stocks last. An effortlessly stylish, next-generation hybrid with intuitive safety technology from just $43,900. Plus, score a deal on the iconic Honda Accord with a 7-year warranty, 7 years roadside assist, and 5 standard low-price services. Run into Formula Honda while the run-out deals last. Glen Osmond Road, Glen Osmond, or Northeast Road, Modbury.
If your business needs finance fast, speak to Universal Finance right now. Universal Finance make business loans easy. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now with same-day settlements in most cases. See Universal Finance in Kent Town or search Universal Finance. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery Early Bird deadline is this Friday. 3 lucky families will win the ultimate 21-day European adventure, travelling across London, Paris and Rome, all with $50,000 in spending money.
What about that? Or you can take the $100,000 cash and plan the trip yourself. Early bird deadline is midnight tonight. Don't miss out on your family's next adventure. And your tickets stay in the draw for both grand prizes at Henley Beach.
You can inspect the grand prize homes at 202 and 202A East Terrace, Henley Beach, every Monday, Wednesday, and on weekends and public holidays from 12 to 5 p.m.
Help to create life-changing treatments and care for every South Australian. Get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
When you think about it, quality household appliances make our lives so much easier. And at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, even choosing an appliance is easy. Celebrate 125 years of quality with Miele at Adelaide Appliance Gallery. With the best advice, the best appliances, and the best deals on Miele. Get 10% off, plus a 5-year warranty on Miele built-in cooking, refrigeration, dishwashing, and laundry appliances. Limited time only. Make your life easier with Miele and Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
Tradie Night is coming soon to Toolkit Depot. For one day only, get double your member discount store-wide, in-store and online. Plus, head in-store on the day for exclusive deals, giveaways, prizes and more. Check online or in-store for full Tradie Night details at Toolkit Depot.
The Hyundai SUV sale is on now with incredible factory bonuses on Santa Fe and Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
11 minutes to 9. Catch the 5AA Interactive Lounge tomorrow afternoon with Stacey Lee and representatives from the Department of Health and Wellbeing who'll be shining a light on palliative care and the support available. It's an interactive lounge, so you can call in, have your questions answered, and indeed you can stay totally anonymous too and speak to them off air, which is always one of the great facilities of the interactive lounge that will take place on Stacey's program tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, I say that's incredible! There is no sports person in Australia, male or female, to top Sam Kerr right now.
Well, it was about 8:20 on Friday when we brought you the disturbing news about the incident that had happened Thursday evening at the Sturt women's team's training at Unley Oval, where a bunch of bike riding rat bags ran through their training drills, screaming and yahooing and carrying on, terrifying the girls. And then there was a confrontation with a club official afterwards. The police were involved, and then subsequently terrible graffiti vandalism over a whole bunch of the infrastructure there at the home of football. Sue Dewing is the CEO of the Sturt Football Club, and we have her on the line now. Sue, this is just terrible. This is like, you know, as we were chatting about it off air on Thursday, I couldn't believe that it happened. Where's it all at now? What can you tell us about it?
Well, we were able to, with the help of council and our volunteers, get it all cleaned, the graffiti all cleaned up by just after lunchtime on Friday. The actual matter with the abuse of players is with the police at the moment, so we'll be working with them to see if they can find who was responsible.
But just to be clear, Sue, this is a group of blokes harassing
No,
women at footy training.
We understand that there was one female in the group.
Okay, predominantly blokes though.
Yes, yes.
And were they young, Sue?
Reports are between 16 to 20 years of age. They were visibly high on whatever, we don't know what, but that's what sort of made the situation probably more scary, especially when a knife was threatened. And you know, just not knowing how that could pan out. So yeah, we were very wary of that.
I mean, they would have been, you know, older than a lot of the SANFLW players as well. How are the girls in light of what happened? And has the club had to think about whether you have, like, you know, do you have to think about getting security at the next training session or anything like that?
Well, we certainly will be super vigilant. As you say, they're, you know, I mean, some of the girls that were training that night were as young as 16 years of age.
Yeah, totally.
And talking to a couple of the leadership group on the weekend, we found out more that these guys and girls actually got into the Mackay Grandstand, which is where the girls' change rooms are underneath, and the verbal abuse that was being levelled at the girls as they were coming into the change rooms was just appalling. And yeah, some of them were very visibly shaken by it.
There's a theory that these people might be involved in some other trouble in the inner south, some of the vandalism against shops on Unley Road as well, is there not?
Yeah, it seems to be that a couple of the tags that they used when they came back to graffiti the area was tags that have been seen elsewhere. And council, when I was talking to council officials on Friday morning, they seemed to say that, you know, they'd hit a few targets, but certainly the attack on Unley Oval was excessive. I know that graffiti is a problem in a lot of areas, but this was over the top.
Wouldn't that be great if the way they were caught was because the stupid tags they used identified them for a whole host of other issues as well? Is this the first time you guys have had issues with what you suspect is this group, Sue? Because there was a graffiti issue you had once before there at the ground in recent years, wasn't there?
I'm not sure about that, Will, but certainly, you know, it's pretty worrying for the club because we had all our PA equipment was stolen from under our nose.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm thinking.
When we were testing it.
Yes.
We had recent we've had several break-ins into the canteen. And, you know, every weekend, almost every weekend, we're finding drug paraphernalia around the place. So, it's there is some concern from the club about some of the elements that are hanging around the club, and for the community as well.
So I know that the backdrop to this, and this was something that was led by the council, not done at the instigation of Sturt, but the council has said they're going to have a look at the possibility of fencing Unley, which would mean that, currently it's the only SANFL ground that's not fenced. In this situation, though, would that necessarily have made any difference? I mean, would the plan be if there was a fence there, would it be locked up after, 9 o'clock at night or something like that?
Well, certainly Sturt's position is we are in support of a fence for ticketed events, but we're sympathetic to the community that don't want the fence there. So any design, we would expect that there would be regular openings, and we would not be expecting to close that fence for training sessions. It would only be our ticketed events.
Yeah, sure. So it'd just be Saturday, Arvo, Sunday, Arvo.
So no, that's not the club's position. What the council's position is, we don't know, but that's certainly not the club's position to lock out community, other than for the ticketed events, and then we would work with community, about them accessing those events. We could negotiate something with them.
Yeah, for sure. Sue Dewing there, Sturt CEO. Thanks for coming on, Sue. We'll catch up soon.
Another litmus test for enlightened society's new approach to tolerance level for violence against women. A few people are texting on the Dutton's text line right now saying nothing will happen to these people.
Of course it won't.
They won't. Because
course
lip
it
service
won't.
gets paid to this issue.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's got to do their bit, yet the people rocking up at a women's training session, abusing them and carrying weapons, allegedly.
Yeah.
What's going to become of them? I'm sure they've got a touching story as to how they ended up in that
completely.
position.
Yep. Cue the violins.
Speaking of women's sport, and in a very good news story, we've got the Matildas coming on Friday night. These tickets are the hardest to get tickets in Australian sport right now. We've got some to give away, and all this week when we play Matildas highlight, if you're the first caller through, you're in the running, which means you've got a 1 in 5 chance, which is precisely what Leanne in Plimpton Park has. Leanne, congratulations to you and good morning. Sorry, Leanne, I think we've got you now. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did you try to get tickets, Leanne, last time when they went on sale?
No. I'm only just this time and straight on.
Oh, good stuff.
Fantastic.
Late to the party.
Did you get into the Matildas during the World Cup, Leanne?
No. Too busy working.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, well, you're in for a treat.
Too busy working.
Yeah. Well, we're going to. You'll find out on Friday morning. Hopefully, you're not too busy on Friday morning because that's when we're going to conduct the draw, and you'll find out if you are the person who's getting along Friday night. It is a phenomenon, I think, and I confess, I love the World Cup, and I got massively swept up by it and watching the girls, and it's great when it's ever on TV. I never thought in a million years that they'd have enough momentum to sustain the subsequent World Cup qualifiers and even just random meaningless friendlies all being sold out in Australia.
It's just crazy. It's going to be massive. And I've actually never, well, I'm not going now, but never seen a soccer match at the Adelaide Oval.
I saw the A-League Grand Final there. That's the only one I've seen there, I think.
Did the Reds win that? They did, didn't they?
They did. It was great, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the famous Simon Hill "Si Senor Si" call where Isaiah scored the free kick.
That's right.
It was awesome. It's shocking to watch. I don't like... It's great because more people get to go, and that's the important thing. But it's not ideal to watch soccer at, I don't think.
Won't matter though. All about
the atmosphere will be unbelievable. When the girls will put on a show, it'll be absolutely superb. There's no doubt about
No
that.
Sam Kerr.
And it's good. More people get to go to it. That's the benefit.
Sam Kerr's not playing at all for the foreseeable future. She's still got that. It's a knee, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an ACL.
It's an ACL. Yeah. That's why. So she's knocked out for a long time, unfortunately. But there's so much star power. If you look at just have a look at the clubs those girls play for in Europe. They are the biggest clubs. On both the UK and in continental Europe, and it gives you. She's not the only star. There's plenty of stars. She just happens to be the biggest of them. Matt Pantelis is coming up. This is going to be fascinating today. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stick around for Matt because he's been in Ceduna over the weekend, speaking to everyone on the ground about the problems confronting that part of South Australia, South Australia's own Alice Springs. What Matt discovered will fascinate you. That's coming up after 9 o'clock. We'll catch you tomorrow from 6.
Coming up on 5AA Mornings, a deep dive into Ceduna and the social issues they've been